the original multi-club fan channel. Make sure you're following us now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. The link is in the description below. Welcome back to the Top 6 show. It's Monday night. It is bank holiday, but I know you're all going to be tuning in anyway. Hit the like button and subscribe. Make sure you download Match Bingo right now. It's an amazing game to play during football matches. We're going to talk a bit more about them later, but get it downloaded now before we do that by scanning the QR code or clicking the link in our description below. We have an amazing panel for you this evening. Kate is back with us. Man Lucky Gal, it's been a minute. I know you've been a very busy man over the last month. Is here. Dayo is back on the terrace again. Staffy with us below with another fresh trim and a great fade. He has a great fade on his head. I wish Man United played as well as Staffy's hair looked. Roms is here. He survived. He's tripped to Liverpool. I know you've had a few threats from Liverpool fans before saying you wouldn't make it out of Liverpool, but clearly he did, unless he's being held hostage up there somewhere, but they let him stream. And man, like the Don is here with us. Greasy Don is with us on the show today. How's everyone feeling? Everyone well? Everyone good?
I'm good, man.
Couldn't be better.
Well.
Good, man.
My barber is much better than Ten Hag at his job, I'll tell you the least.
Well, they do say never trust a bald barber. So
Definitely not bald. He's definitely
there we go. I'm sorry, you made me depressed thinking about Ten Hag. Hey, Terry.
I thought we were here
As an Arsenal fan, I love your unbiased shows. Thanks. But I know you're a Liverpool fan, Lulu. So it's a weird thing for you to say, my bro. Cheers, Lulu. Again, that's dead banter, bro. You could do a lot better than that. We've got loads to talk about on the show today. We're talking Man United and the mess we're in, but a crazy comment from Ten Hag. We're looking at Poch and Chelsea. Reports that some players want him out at the end of the season. And he himself has come out with the madness of a quote that I reckon Don agrees with, by the way. Don probably does agree with it, if I'm being honest. We're going to be taking a look back at the I wouldn't call it an epic encounter yesterday, but the big game between Man City and Arsenal, the weird fallout since, and the lies that I have seen from pundits about Arsenal is borderline mental health in my view. But then we're talking about the title race as well, with Liverpool now officially crowned favourites to win the English Premier League title from this point, both mathematically, statistically, and with the bookmakers. So loads to go through. Make sure like buttons are hitting, you're subscribing. But I wanted to start off with Man United. And we're not going to bore everybody by talking about the game, because we did that on Saturday night. It was an awful match. We know we were dominated. We know the system was awful. We know most of the usual suspects play badly. We even had a chance to win the game and we bottled that. We know how horrendous we are. Man United this season have been absolute cack, awful. The system's terrible. And how much more can I 8 Mile this? You know, it's a failure of a season. It's an abomination from our captain. Rapid was a disgrace. Why is McTominay on? We could do all of this. Do you know what I'm saying? We could do it all. Rip into everybody, right? I want to speak about something Ten Hag has said, because this triggered me more than the performance. I want Rival's opinion first on this before I go to my man Staffy. Ten Hag was questioned by the mainstream media. They said words to the effect of, Eric, you're conceding record number of shots game in, game out. Today, your opponents had more touches in your box than any other Premier League team has had this season against any opponent. Are you not concerned by the amount of chances your team is leaking game in, game out? His response was, no, as long as we win games. Is that a problem, Don? Is that a problem when your manager thinks like that?
Of course it is. Of course it is. And listen, me and Staffy done a show on his channel, big up Staffy, yeah? And one of the questions that he asked was, you know, should Ten Hag be given time with the new owners? And I said no. And the reason being is because you can't trust what this guy's going to do. You know what I'm saying? If he's literally coming out and saying he's happy to just scam wins and not perform, how can you trust him with a new squad? You know, how can you trust him to make the right decisions going forward? You know, how can you trust him at a big club like United? Because you guys are a big club. Do you know what I'm saying? So this is not acceptable, man. This guy's got no self-awareness. Like I said to you, Terry, all season, him and Poch go bar for bar. We'll speak about Poch later on and some of the quotes that he said, but they go bar for bar. They're in denial. They never come out and take any accountability. They insult the fans. It's ridiculous. It's a shit show. And he's got to go. There's no way Ineos will go to keep this guy, man. He's got to go. He's got to get moved on, man. Honestly. I'm surprised he's even still in a job, but I guess they're just going to wait till the end of the season before they get him out.
Do you know why it's it's just horrible. Well, from a rival's perspective, it's beautiful what Ten Hag says. Long may it continue. We want to see it carry on happening. But the reason why it was so wrong what he said is because of results like Brentford at the weekend. Because if you just win games, but the performance doesn't match, that's when the fan base are just crazy. That's when the fan base have something to say. Because how many times this season, I think Kobe Mano at the death against Wolves, Bruno away at Fulham, I think Tomine at home against Brentford. There's been so many poor performances this season, but the result hasn't matched it. In fact, the result this weekend was a bit disingenuous to Brentford, because they should have won the game. They should have won the game.
They should have smashed Man United. They should have smashed us.
They should have smashed.
Yeah.
The minute, listen, I know you said we're not going to speak about the game too much, Terry, but the minute United went 1-0 ahead, I said, they've done again. They've played poorly and scraped a result. I turned off the game. So when I've checked my app and I see it's 1-1, I'm like, finally, I was that happy that Brentford got something, but they deserved more. But that's the reason why what Ten Hag said is so wrong, because you're not always inevitably the performances won't match the result.
It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. As fans, yeah, we get belief from looking at performances, bro. That's the starting point. You know what I'm saying? Results. If you want to just look at results, don't watch the game then. Just check the result after the game and see how your team got on. If you just care about results, you got to look at the performances, and that's where you get your confidence, and that's where you get your belief. And for him to come out and literally say, "Oh yeah, we can get peppered every week, but I care more about W's," is a massive red flag. Massive red flag, man. I think this guy knows he's going to get sacked, Terry. He knows he's going to get sacked. He's not going to walk away from the job, you know, because he's not going to get paid out if that happens. Right now, he's just kind of buying his time, doing what he wants, you know, seeing how we get onto the end of the season, and he will move on and take his millions and then go into another job, you know.
I just want to know why are you
if another team, hold on, Miguel, yeah. I don't know what other top team will trust this manager again. Like, where does Ten Hag go from here? Because this is scary what he's saying.
Before you go, do you know why you're spot on, Dom? Because if you look at when Arteta first came to Arsenal and Klopp when he first came to Liverpool, the results weren't really there, but you saw that identity. You saw what we were trying to do, and that's what gave us confidence. Now Arsenal kind of reaping the rewards. I'm really disingenuous. They just need something to show for it, and we've reaped the rewards with Klopp. So if you see something at the start with performances, you're right. It builds confidence, especially within a fan base.
Yeah.
To be fair, I just want to say we all know what Ten Hag is. He doesn't have that level of communication when it comes to the press conferences. He's been doing this ever since he's come in. There's been games where his team will play bad and he'll just come out and be like, he'll blatantly lie or say something that's completely opposite of what we're witnessing and almost testing our intelligence, almost gaslighting your own fan base. So Terry, I get why you're upset. And this similar situation happened with us with Unai Emery. The communication for your manager to your fans and to your players is key, because this is what continues to give you belief even when results are not happening. It's not only performances, the communication is key. So this is why there's a difference with Klopp and Arteta, because even when results were not happening, their level of communication was that was they were telling us what we wanted to hear, and they're giving us the information that we needed to know, that these guys are on the same page with us. When Ten Hag is coming out and saying this, that just means he's willing to go through these kind of results and willing to go through these kind of performances to get a result. And that is not going to be anywhere near the level that you need to win anything.
And you just said he's insulting the intelligence. Great point, yeah, because he also said, Man City struggled to beat Brentford, and he started deflecting and speaking about other teams. And I'm like, bro, that's not what you need to be doing right now. Focus. Yeah, he never takes accountability. Focus at the matter in hand. And your coaching is not good enough. That's what you need to talk about. You know, talking about, they struggled against Man City, they struggled against this team. What does that do? That doesn't change Man United's situation. Talking about other teams.
But I just want to bring it back to what I was saying. Terry and Staffy, are you guys surprised? Because there was early signs of this even in his first season.
Let me just say this.
Go on, Staffy.
Let me just say this. If Igal came out 2 years ago and said some of the stuff that Ten Hag is saying about his team, and Igal was saying about Arsenal, we'd call Igal deluded. We'd call Igal a waffler. There would be 100 super chats coming in right now to rip up Igal, saying, how could you say that, you don't care about not conceding shots because you didn't concede goals? Some of the things this guy says in the press conference, I swear to God, if Terry, you've been criticized for your clickbait titles, this guy's actually clickbaiting us with the stuff that he says in the press conferences. The stuff that he says, we would get ripped for saying it on YouTube. If I came out here and defended Ten Hag with the exact same logic that he uses, I promise you, people will be like, Terry, don't bring him back on the top 6. He's deluded. This manager insults our intelligence game in, game out. If I came in after that City game and told you guys, you know what, guys, we were unlucky today. It was close margins. You'd be like, get this guy off here. He doesn't know what he's talking about. Get this guy off here. He doesn't know what he's talking about. That's what the manager said. If we conceded this amount of shots, and I said that I don't care as long as we're not conceded goals, you'd be like, this guy's deluded. Don't bring him back here. This is a paid professional, okay? This is a manager out there with coaching badges certified by the UEFA that comes in and says this stuff. This is not a random guy sitting on YouTube with a YouTube channel. This is a paid professional in arguably one of the biggest clubs in the world. And we have to sit here and listen to this every game. And the sad part, you know what's the sad part? And I've given up, bro. I've actually given up. The sad part is there's still people out there that believe in this manager, that actually believe what he says. These people cannot be saved. You know what it is? I can't even be angry anymore. I really can't. But I'm not going to be nice to these people anymore. Just shut the fuck up, man. I'm tired of you. I'm tired of you. These people, no, legit, these people that sit out there and watch games like this, and they say, you know what? It's a part of the process. What process are you talking about? What is this manager showing you on the pitch, off the pitch, in the press conferences, in the dugout, in any aspect of managing and coaching since he came into this club, where you're like, you know what? I see something that I need to believe in. What is there to believe in? What is there to trust when he's lying to you every game? It's not even banter anymore. When we all sit here and agree on the same thing, it's because it's so obvious. It's so evidential. There's no way you go to the 15th worst team in the league. They're sitting in 15th, okay? And they do that to you. You get battered by record numbers. By the way, last year, you got battered to them 4-0 at home. And we gave you the benefit of the doubt. We said it was naivety. He didn't have his team yet. Apparently, by the way, there was only 3 starters from that 4-0 game that played yesterday. So that's a completely different team, bar 3 players. And you go out there and you get battered like that. 81 touches in your box, 30-plus shots conceded in the game. And you barely, bro, we were lucky. We robbed them. It felt guilty. I felt guilty leaving with that point. And I made this example earlier. I'm like, you know, when you open the fridge and you eat someone else's food, like, you know, it's your brother's food or your wife's food or something, and you're like, shit, it tasted good, but it wasn't mine. It tasted good, but the minute I was done with it, it felt guilty. That's how I feel. I was like, yo, we robbed them of a point. But this manager has a lack of accountability. He never comes out after the game and actually explains, okay, what did I do wrong in the game? How can we improve? How can I criticize myself and the players and to show the fans that we can improve on it? When I see that you're oblivious to what's been going on, I can't believe in that. Because if he comes out and says, you know what, we got this, and that tactically wrong, but we'll improve on that. I'm like, you know what? At least he sees what I see. Let me give him a chance. Throughout the whole season, he's never showed that. He's never came out and held his hand. And you're having arguably one of the worst seasons. And let me say this one more time. I don't want to waffle on for too long, and I want others to speak. Under Mourinho, under Van Gaal, under Ole, am I missing anyone? Those 3, yeah. Under those 3, I swear we played better football than this. This manager, and I know people are going to say I'm crazy because at least he won us a cup where Ole didn't. This manager is the worst manager we have gotten post Ole. And I can confidently say that now. He is the worst manager we hired since Sir Alex left. Because all the other managers failed, but at least we knew one thing under them. They got criticized for it, but we knew it. They had an identity. They knew they had a style of play. Van Gaal was boring. Mourinho was defensive.
Would you
and
say
Ole
Moyes
was counter-attack.
Would you say Moyes had an identity? David Moyes.
I'm not gonna lie, I
You
didn't
said
want to
Moyes
include him
was
because he was there only for like
he did have an
7
identity.
months.
He did have an identity because we played the same horrible football that West Ham and Everton do. It just didn't fit with Manchester United. But he played his style. Listen, I agree. I think Ten Hag's lost his mind. Where I disagree with Igal slightly is, of course, there's going to be times where managers will deflect. Of course, there's going to be times where they say something that isn't quite true in a press conference. I know me and Lee Gunner had a lot of these arguments about managers should always tell the 100% truth at all times. I don't believe that's true. It's like with my children. Even when they're adults, there's sometimes where you tell your children or you tell your family or friends the complete blunt truth. There are other times where you tell white lies or you don't quite tell the truth. Let's use Kate as an example. Kate comes downstairs wearing a new outfit that she loves. And she asked Jim, how do I look in this? Now, Jim knows his wife well. if Jim knows that Kate is feeling herself and Kate likes it, Jim is going to be smart, especially if he wants a little bit of the horizontal hula later, right? He knows he has got to turn around and say, "You look beautiful, my darling." If he doesn't and says, "Actually, this problem, that problem, don't like this, that's too high, that's too short," there's going to be trouble. Even if he doesn't like it, he's got to slightly lie. So there are lots of moments in life where you need, sorry, Kate, but it is true, where you need to have tact. Sometimes, so of course, Ten Hag isn't always going to tell the truth. But I go back to when we got battered by Brentford last year. He got those players into training that he criticized performance, criticized the players, and he worked them like dogs the next day in training. Man United then went on a 6-month run where we grew brilliantly in the league, won a trophy, got into the top 4, had some brilliant results against other and fellow top 6 opponents like Man City, beating Liverpool, beat Arsenal, who were all, top teams, right? Since that Liverpool defeat, 7-0, cheers, Roms, he has been a different man. And initially I thought, okay, he'll shake the... And let me just finish. Sorry,
sorry. Go on.
I felt like he would shake it off. We won that trophy. A week or so later, we played you guys. And I always thought he'd shake it off. That's where I've got to hold my hands up and say, I got it wrong. And I thought it'll be okay. But now listening to him and listening to what Staffy said, I'm not surprised the players are not working for him because they know this system is broken. But yet, instead of him saying in a press conference, you know what? This isn't working. We've got to change some things. We've got to go back to the drawing board. He's saying, no, it's all okay. I don't care how it looks. We're going to win. He's making the players perform in the same way in terms of this is your role. This is where I want you. And the players are saying, well, this don't work. And it's all fallen apart. We have become a mess again. And it's broken down. Listening to him talk now, he just sounds like he sounds broken. He sounds finished. It's like he knows that he's a dead man walking. He isn't talking how somebody with his experience at this level should be. And I've seen this before when Jose started rambling on some nonsense, when Ollie started talking about craziness. That's when you know a manager is at the very least under major pressure or they're finished, when they start speaking almost incoherently. And that's where Ten Hag is. And I don't understand Man United fans supporting this. I truly mean this. Anybody that believes that he is turning this around just because of a good summer, and it's just been announced that Jason Wilcox will be joining as a technical director. He's resigned at Southampton today. So he'll be joining. Obviously, you've got Dan Ashworth, who probably will come in, Omar Barada. I don't think these individuals can help save him either. We need a clean break from this guy. And anyone no one yet, I've not seen somebody come up with one single good take as to how he's going to turn this round.
No, the only take Terry is they always say it's out of trauma because they don't want to live with the guilt of having another manager sacked while some of these players are there. And I hear that. However, you look at the pitch yesterday on Sunday, the players on the pitch, the players look helpless. They don't know what's going on. And the proof is that the game before we played Liverpool and we played well in parts of the game. At least we started the game very well. You remember when we scored. The reason for that is the players had something to turn up for. They had, you know what? It's a big occasion. We're at home. It's the FA Cup. It's Liverpool. Most of them turned up. The fact that you went to a lesser team in Brentford and you couldn't put in a shift and all the players look hopeless, bro. Look at the players on and off the ball. They look clueless. You ever tried building furniture without the little manual and you don't know what to do? You're just turning around. You're like, what do I do? This is what the players look like. No, I swear one time I lost a manual. I was like, shit, how do I do this? I don't know how to build it. I have to look it up.
Staffy,
This is what the players look like, bro.
They just want to be super fan. It's like I'm sticking by him through the bad.
Because you're better than me. If you do that, Don, you're better than me because I'm a negative one.
If somehow Ineos change things and he manages to turn it around, I could say, remember that time when you guys were all onto him? I was still supporting him, which is a stupid way of looking at football.
But Don, I'm somebody who's very optimistic and I back my managers, but there was a point where I lost faith in what do you call it? Not Arteta, obviously, but what's his name? Emery.
No, you did.
Unai Emery.
You did lose faith in Arteta as well. Let's not lie. You did.
Okay. I thought the team was thinking, but guess what? We got some transfers in and fixed it. And big up Arteta. And obviously he never lost the dressing room. But when it comes to Emery and what do you call it right now with Ten Hag, I see similarities in the sense that there's no motivation in the way that these press conferences are demotivating the fans and the players, in my opinion. And when it comes down to it, if he can't motivate the players, and when as a fan he can't keep you on side, he's going to turn you against himself, and that's what he's starting to do.
The part that really surprises me is you coming out in front of the press and saying something as silly as, this unsustainable football that we play, I don't care about it unless I get a W. Like, as long as I get a W, sorry. Like, if I get a win, I don't care about. I don't care if the boys. In fact, I don't care if Onana is the one who dribbles and goes to score. I don't care. Like that's exactly. Like that's
imagine putting on a blindfold and throwing it at a dartboard and saying, I don't care that my strategy is rubbish as long as I hit the ball at some point. That's essentially what we're doing. The consistency of wins stems from a sustainable way of playing football, and until we get that right, we'll get less. That's how you know he's. And he know, by the way, Ten Hag knows this in his heart of hearts. He knows that if we were controlling the ball more, dominating more games, and stronger out of possession, we'd get more W's. So that's what, as fans, we have got to push our club towards doing, so we get more wins. I wonder if somebody super chats here. So go on, Roms, and then we'll go to the super chats.
Before you start, do you know how you know Ten Hag doesn't even believe what he says? He's Dutch, and we know the Dutch to be honest. So he doesn't even believe what he's saying. He's under pressure. My uncle always says to me, a man can be so under pressure that you ask them what their name is and they don't know what it is. Their head's just gone. That is literally Ten Hag at the moment. He's just saying anything and hoping it sticks.
100%, 110%. Ten Hag is in pure survival mode. He fears for his job. Yeah, I think he does. I think you're right, James. I think you're absolutely right.
He knows he's gone, man. He knows he's gone, man.
I hate Ten Hag's post-match press conferences. Everything he is doing reminds me of LVG's stubbornness, but Ineos should let Barada decide if he stays. Well, that's what they are doing. That's been published everywhere.
LVG had a resume where you can actually say, listen, as much as I hate it, and as much as he's stubborn, he could be right, because he showed me elsewhere that he's been a decent manager. And to be fair, LVG is the only manager that I look back at and I'm like, as much as the football I didn't enjoy, I was a little bit younger at the time, so I didn't understand football as much as I do now. I would like to say that I understand football a lot more now. When I wanted him out, now that I look back at it, I was like, he's the only one that actually committed to a rebuild. And he was the only one that had a style of play. It was boring. It wasn't getting us goals yet, but maybe in a year it would have. He's the only one that actually had something.
I always say with hindsight with LVG, if he would have still been here the following season with Pogba and Zlatan, we would have started to score. We would have started scoring more goals. Pogba would have been able to open more people up, and Zlatan obviously is.
To be fair, we would have signed him.
You know what? What year did LVG get sacked again?
2016.
Summer 16, wasn't it? Yeah. You know another thing, Staffy. I know this isn't a great way to measure it, but he's the only manager post Fergie that actually come to Anfield and won back to back.
We never got battered. He's the only manager we didn't get battered under. When you look at all the other managers,
one thing
he won back to back. He won back to back.
We didn't get battered because we controlled the ball under him and we had a lot of possession. We just struggled with what to do with it at the other end, which I think we needed better players. But
he never lost to Liverpool, and he had a winning record against City. When we beat City 4-2 at Old Trafford.
Yeah. No doubt. But look, United have got Barada coming in. There's Jason Wilcox on the way now as well, who's, again, ex-City and Southampton guy, very good with the youth. I'm excited about Dan Ashworth, and I just hope they make the right decisions in the summer. Moving, this here says, don't be shocked if Ten Hag beats Poch, classic United. Well, we'll get onto that a little bit later in the show, but obviously similar things are going on at Chelsea. And before we go into some of Poch's comments, boys, I mean, I know Man United got battered at the weekend, and I'm not point scoring here, but you were at home to Burnley. You were 1-0 up, dominating them. They were down to 10 men, and you still couldn't win. Where does this rank, Don, in terms of embarrassment for your football club based on the performance and your lack of ability of finishing that game off when you had the numerical advantage?
I can't lie, Terry. I don't feel anything anymore, bro. I've seen this one too often this season. I've seen us get battered at Anfield. I've seen us get battered away at Newcastle. I've seen us lose to Brentford at home after the international break. You know, I've seen more than enough embarrassing performances this season to feel anything. You know what I'm saying? And I said before the game, we must beat Burnley, and I need to see a good performance. I don't know what it is about this team. Every single time we come back from international break, these men are not on it. These men are not on it. They're young delinquents. You've heard me call them young delinquents a few times because people think I only blame Poch. I speak about these players as well. Yeah, and for this game in particular, I'm blaming more the players than Poch, right? I wasn't seeing much in terms of style of play or patterns or anything like that, but we still created enough chances, enough clear-cut chances to win that game. When I looked at the lineup with what we've got right now, I was calm with it. The only thing that I wasn't happy with was Gallagher in that 10. Yeah, no one's going to gaslight me because I've spoken about this guy multiple times and you guys can see exactly why I don't like him. You know, in that 10, in the pocket, he's slipping everywhere. You know, I've said to Roms earlier, like his boots are too big for him. You know, he doesn't know how to find a simple pass. When he gets pressed, he doesn't know what to do because he's not good with the ball at his feet. He ain't got that quality. Do you know what I mean? But even with Gallagher, it was still more than enough to win the game. So no one can try to say I'm scapegoating the guy because we created enough chances. But again, in the second half, what happens? We come out, we concede straight away. Straight away. It's not a coincidence. Multiple Chelsea fans have spoken about this in the second half, you know, in terms of what happens every time we come out. Everyone's asleep, you know. Another set piece conceded again. And this manager at the start of the season was given the option. Do you want a set piece team? He said no. Stubborn like Ten Hag. I can do it myself. But clearly you can't. Because every time we concede a corner, it's like a penalty, bro. You know? And I said to Ron earlier, put money on Arsenal scoring at least 2 corners against us. At least 2. Because they're the kings of set pieces. Yeah, and we're shocking.
This is the same Emirates you're not scared of. So all of a sudden they're automatically going to score 2 goals. You're not scared of the Emirates.
Bro, I'm not scared. I'm not scared of the Emirates. I'm scared of my team. I'm scared of my team. I don't believe in my team. I've got hope that we'll hopefully push on and finish off the season well. But I don't believe what I'm seeing, bro. We're up and down. You know, we're very inconsistent. And that's the players. That's the manager. That's everything right now. Do you know what I'm saying? And like I said, yeah, like the other day, you know, Poch, he took off Caicedo. He brought on more attackers. And we still couldn't find the back of the net. Do you know what I'm saying? So the players have got to hold this one. But at the end of the day, Poch doesn't go away scot-free. It's not to say Poch didn't do anything wrong. Because for me, he should have taken off Gallagher at halftime. And like I said, the set pieces, again, that's down to coaching. The fact that I've not seen a style of play, Terry. I've spoken to you about how when I watch United, I don't see a team that knows what they're doing. I look at our team, it's a bunch of individuals. And Poch literally came out. I can't even disagree. He literally came out and said, we basically give the ball to what's his name, to Palmer, and just hope. It's Palmer, it's Inshallah and Palmer. That's basically what it is, right? Because there's just no tactics. And that's where I've got to look at the coach. Why have you still not been able to implement a system after you've been training once a week? We've got one game a week, Terry. I don't know what he does all week. I don't understand. Do you know what I'm saying? This guy needs to go. And like I said, I've checked out from this season. I'm done with this season because for me, I'm going to speak about the same problems. I'm going to speak about set pieces. You know, I'm going to speak about big chances missed. I'm going to speak about shit in game management. I'm going to speak about injuries. I'm going to speak about lineups. Nothing is going to change this season. It's just hope. Right now, I'm just hoping that we finish the season well. But I don't believe that we're going to do anything. Do you know what I'm saying? I'm just ready for next season. I've written off this season. That's how I view it right now.
I hear
You're
you.
numb.
See, you're numb to it. CB.
You're numb.
I get the players against criticism. What did you make of your midfield? I know you're someone's been heavily critical of your midfield, the Enzos and the Caicedos. It was another game where a team, Burnley, worst team in the league, down to 10 men, were still running through your midfield. What did you make of that element of it, CB?
The truth is, yeah, I listened to what Don had to say. It makes me laugh when he puts his fingers at a manager who hasn't had a fit starting 11 from the goal. The manager that hasn't had the same back four playing for 3 games in a row. A manager who has no backing from his players. He has 2 senior players who are in the team. Everyone, barring 2 players, no one has 150 league appearances in the side. In terms of our midfield, this is the same midfield that's gone to the Molineux and been dog-walked. They're the same people that have gone to Luton and been dog-walked. Olympic Stadium, dog-walked. Old Trafford, dog-walked. Anfield, dog-walked. St. James's Park, dog-walked. At this point, this is who these guys are. Funnily enough, I do think this was actually one of Enzo's better games. However, every single line breaker he tried to do went to a yellow shirt. At what point does player pride kick in? At what point do you guys have to stop pointing fingers at the manager and genuinely ask yourself, what is the ability of these players? They played against 10 men Burnley with Craig Bellamy as their gaffer. Craig Bellamy. This is what I'm saying. I'm at a point now where, honestly speaking, what are these players actually capable of doing? They're not good enough. That's the truth. We can point fingers at the manager, we listened to the Man United segment just now. They're talking about, Van Gaal did this and that. They hopped through bare different managers and it took them, 7-8 years to realize, these players are not good. They still have Martial and them man in their books. They played under how many coaches? Them man are not good. skip the step and cut the losses. These players are not good enough. And Don, do you know what's so funny? In terms of Pochettino, in-game management, he took a big risk on that. When he was 1-1, he took a big risk. He took off his marquee £150 million midfielder signing.
I was calm with that. I was calm with that, bro. I was happy with that.
He took the to bring in Sterling, who's getting ostracized by the fan base. Everyone's calling for his head. Sterling, within 5 minutes, gets a contribution and gives us to 2-1. That bit of quality.
And he missed a big header. And he missed a big chance as well. He missed a big chance. You want to forget about that, don't you, see?
That's fair. That's fair. However, he did make a contribution. That's what I'm saying. That bit of play between Enzo, Sterling, and Palmer was what happens when players who are talented enough and are on the same wavelength can combine and make things happen. The team isn't good. There's only
CB, can I just read something to you? Yeah. So Pochettino, under Pochettino, Chelsea are on course to set a club record for most goals conceded in the Prem since it began in 1992. Right. Okay. Last season we had Enzo playing as a DM. Yeah, because we sold Jorginho to Arsenal, which was stupid in itself at that point. Because like I said to you before on the pod that we did, yeah, if we had Jorginho and Enzo, I reckon we win more games. We had Enzo, who's not a DM, a lone DM, playing by himself last season under Graham Potter, and we conceded way less goals, bro. Last season defensively, as bad as those guys are, as bad as, you know, they finished 12th, they checked out. Most of these guys didn't want to be there. We still did not concede this many goals, bro. I know we weren't scoring goals, but defensively, we weren't bad. This is where you have to look at the structure and how the manager sets everyone up. We're too easy to be cut through, bro. Yeah, I understand you don't rate these players to be the same level as Drogba and all these, man. That's fine. That's understandable. I get all of that. But the reality is, this manager is nearly breaking records, bro, in terms of the amount of chances, the amount of goals that we've conceded in the Premier League season, bro. You can't just look at the players for that, bro. I've told you, I've come on there week after week, and I've said we play ping pong football. It's chaotic football, bro. Yeah, there's a lack of control. Right? And like I said, these men don't know what they're doing. When you look at them in the box and there's a corner, I look at their faces. Why is Enzo marking that tall guy, please? Enzo's not even 5'10", I don't think. He's marking one of the tallest centre-backs. Yeah? They nearly scored another set piece and they hit the bar. Yeah? The same thing happened against Brentford. They scored a set piece and they nearly scored another one. Yeah? But then you want to talk about just the players. End of the day, I look at our team. The manager has literally come out and said we are a bunch of individuals and we depend on Cole Palmer, and that is literally what I watch. And that's down to him and how he sets us up and how tactically he doesn't know what he's doing, bro. Do you know what I'm saying? So I've already agreed with you. The other day was mainly on the players. I do agree with you because we had enough chances to win the game, but you keep ignoring the fact that this manager tactically is just not good enough. It's not good enough.
Let me jump in for a minute because I want to get some of I want to go to Kate on this and some of the rest of the panel. And again, this quote is there from Poch. He has said that he said here, Pochettino admitted that after the disappointing draw against Burnley, that his team has nowhere to turn. Their solution is give the ball to Cole Palmer. Is that because the players are not good enough? So no matter what the system is, they're just not good enough and they just see him as the best player? Or is that down to the coaching and the players knowing what to do? Because it does seem that the Chelsea fans are kind of split, where some believe the players are just awful and others think it's the tactics and the coaching and the training. How do you see it as a neutral? Well, as a rival more than a neutral?
Yeah, I was going to say, as a rival, I think it's amazing. Agent Poch is doing the Lord's work, as I always say. But Don, I remember the first time I ever came on to the terrace, I said to you, when I watch Chelsea, all I see is a bunch of individuals, not a team. And you like came back hard at me and said, no, I don't see that at all. But it's true. There's no cohesion in your team at all. And I think it's a mixture of both. I think Poch is messing up. I think the job's come too early for him. I don't think it's ready for it. But saying that, you've got a chance of winning a cup still. So he's not, there's that. But I also think your players aren't good enough. And I think that you've paid ridiculous money, put them on absolutely ridiculous contracts, and you're stuck now with a bunch of mediocre players. And I've got to take my hat off to CB because that's one of the best rants I've ever seen. And I agreed with everything you said. I think Chelsea fans are so quick to just say, oh, it's Poch, oh, it's Poch. Whereas you need to look a little bit closer to home and realise your players ain't what you think they are. They're not as good as you think they are. You build them up to be about here. They're actually down here. And I think it's going to take a hell of a long time for Chelsea to get back up to the level that entitled fans, which Chelsea fans are entitled because of the success you've had over the last decade or so, to get back up to that level. I really do. I think you've got a real... I don't think sacking Poch is even the answer. I don't know what the
Okay.
answer is, but I'm not sure sacking Poch
see-
is the answer.
What's so crazy about this? At the start of the season, yeah, we wasn't getting results, but we were performing well, right? When I was watching us, I was even saying, like, off the ball, we've got a good structure. Gallagher's obviously improved because he's got clear instructions from Poch. I was speaking about us in a positive light, and again, what I spoke about earlier with Ten Hag, he doesn't give these guys belief because the performances aren't good. I was getting my belief because the performances, even if I get my words out, the performances were good, right? But the results weren't coming. So that's where I was like, okay, cool. Hopefully we can kick on. But then, like I said, after that first international break, it just got worse and worse and worse. And I was coming on here and saying, yo, I don't know what's happened, but defensively, we're leaking so many goals. I'm not seeing what I was seeing at the start of the season. We're still missing chances. This manager's still playing people out of position. So I changed my take, like I said, from what I was seeing. Do you know what I mean? So, end of the day, a lot of the players that we're playing right now, realistically, should be bench players, but they're having to be played right now because of injuries, because of, the fact that we haven't got experience in the team. There's multiple things. And that's why, for me, I don't see anything changing this season because there's a lot of work to be doing in the summer. There's a lot of work to do in the summer. Do you know what I'm saying?
Don, you compared this team to last season's team, yeah? Last season's team, I've made it very clear. I said it to you in our private thing. These lots, the players are way better. It's night and day. Also, in terms of last season's team, if we're being honest, we've downgraded in every position. Everyone celebrated players getting sold. Oh, yes, Werner's gone. Oh, Mount is gone. Oh, these men are gone. If we want to be honest, in terms of the goalkeeper situation, is a mid-off. They're two cheeks of the same mask. Not good enough. Gusto,
they're both better than Kepa. I'm sorry. They're both better than Kepa.
It's two cheeks of the same mask. They're not good keepers. We still need to upgrade. So you can't. What does it mean?
We do need to upgrade. We do need to upgrade. You're right.
Gusto's better than Aspilicueta. We did make an upgrade there. Now, in terms of the centre backs, if you look at the three that won us, the three centre backs that started on the Tuchel, Christensen, Rudiger, T. Silva, or whoever you want to name, neither of them could look like Disasi and the man can't light a candle to them. In terms of the left back, Cucurella, he's not better than Alonso. You go to the midfield, Enzo, Caicedo, Lavia are not better than Kovacic, Jorginho, or Kante. You look at the left wing position, Mudryk is not better than Werner, which pains me to say that. Havertz and Jackson is a mid-off. The truth is, at the end of the day, these players that won us the Champions League were not Chelsea standard. We as a collective said they're not Chelsea standard. Get rid of them. They're not good enough. We got rid of them and put worse players. This is the thing.
So let me ask you a question then. Let me ask you a question, CB. Then
hold on,
go on.
Let CB carry on. Let CB carry on.
On top
Let
of
him
this,
cook now.
You're saying, oh yeah,
let him cook.
We don't have a style of play. We don't have a style of
We
play.
don't have a style of play.
We just pass it to Palmer. So what was happening under Hazard with Don Sarri when we won the Europa League? Hazard's best season, and we went third in the league. We was passing to Hazard. What top teams do when backs go against the wall? You pass to your best player. If it's 18-19 Barcelona, I'm not comparing it to that before anyone kills me in the comments. But what you do is you pass to your best players. The fact that they've established, this guy is our best player. I've told you, Cole Palmer's good. Cole Palmer shouldn't be the best player on our team. Cole Palmer isn't starting for any team competing for the title, whether that's City, whether that's Arsenal, whether that's Liverpool. That alone lets me know that we are not where we need to be. None of these players are really starting for the big boys. That's my point. And then as for Pochettino, you complained about injuries. The truth is, what you expect him to do with a backline of this, because this is the situation now with Gusto injured now. It's Galfi, Gilchrist, Disasi, Chalobah, and
Gusto's injured.
Yeah. Gusto got a hamstring injury on the weekend.
Has that been confirmed? I ain't seen nothing.
Four reeks. That's Luton level back four. What do you expect him to do? He hasn't had a starting 11 of his best players all season. We haven't seen we started the season without Fofana, without Nkunku, without Lavia. Reece James got injured 60 minutes into the first opening day of the season. The truth is that we have injury-prone players. Now you can look at the board, because why is the board spending 80-odd million on Fofana, who's fresh from an ACL on one leg and a broken leg on the other? Why are we buying injury-prone players? This is what I'm saying. So you could question the directors and all of that, like I do anyway. But to say Poch, the next whoever comes in is in the same boat. We needed an experienced striker going into the January window. These guys sent Broja on a dry loan with no option to buy. Nicholas Jackson went to AFCON, who's not good enough to be our main striker, by the way.
By the way, Broja's not even starting over there, by the way. He's not even starting over there.
CB, everything you're saying, bro.
The that comes here is going to fail. It's not Pochettino. I think Pochettino's overachieving. We've established the Chelsea DNA because we've been stripped of our DNA completely over the last 24 months. Our DNA is us as a cup team. The truth is, Pochettino's cup record has been absolutely quality for us. Minus the final, obviously we lost the final. The players let him down. It was a shambles of a performance all around. How many chances were missed? Somehow only Gallagher got the blame, even though Palmer and Kunku, all your faves, Enzo missed sitters too. But in terms of the competitions, we're in the FA Cup semi-final. We went to the final of the Carabao Cup. Realistically speaking, the FA Cup is all we have to play for. That will get us into Europa League football anyway. So put our energy towards there. From what I've seen Pochettino do in the competitions, he's done a good job and deserves praise for. As for the league, these guys are inexperienced. Like I said earlier, only 2 players have 150 league appearances. Do you trust them to play consistent football over a 38 stretch? No. That's just the truth.
But this is the thing. This is the thing, though, Terry. This is the thing, though, Terry. Because CB's got agendas on the players, and obviously CB's got an agenda on the owners, which he's got his reasons for. Like I've said, we both love the club, so CB can have his reasons in that year because he wants the club to go back to how it was. But what CB fails to do is acknowledge that Poch has done any wrongdoings. Yeah, that's the problem that I've got. The first thing that I came on here and said, CB, is for the other day, for me, it wasn't on Poch. It was mainly on the players. Poch takes about 20-30% blame, but I mainly spoke about the players. But with you constantly just crash it on them. You constantly crash it on them. You constantly crash it on them. You don't say anything about Poch. You don't talk about how Poch told these man, in extra time against Liverpool, sit back and play for penalties. Talking about how tired they are. But then them running about in fucking training, getting bare guys injured. You don't talk about how this guy played multiple. Hold on, bro. Multiple players that have been managed by this guy have spoken about how intense his training is, bro. And we know how intense he is because all he likes to do is just press and Gallagher, build around Gallagher. You don't talk about how this manager's played multiple people out of position. I agree with what you're saying about the players. Yes, these players are not good enough to be playing for Chelsea. I get all of that. But you're running away from the reality of the situation. The reality of the situation is this manager hasn't helped them enough. These men, like you said, are not good enough. They're not Chelsea quality, like you said, which I agree with. But end of the day, you keep running away from problem solving, bro. You ain't trying to solve problems. You get it? And for me, like I've said, nothing will change this season. That's why I've written it off. Nothing has changed. You keep running away and screaming. That's not going to change nothing, bro. You know what I'm saying? That's not going to change nothing. If this manager wasn't able to do the job, don't take the job, bro. Don't take the job. I told you before when we did the pod. I told you before. If you go out and you meet a girl and she does OnlyFans, that's your beef if you decide to start talking to her, bro. And you get in a relationship with her because she's not going to change what she does. You get into a relationship with her now. You start telling her, no, I don't want you doing OnlyFans anymore. You can't do that. Poch can't come here. Hold on, bro. Hold on. Poch can't come here complaining about all these young players and that, yeah, when he knew that he was going to be working with young players. Do you know what I'm saying? My problem with him is he does not know how to use these man correctly. Do you know what I'm saying? He does not know how to use his man correctly. Yeah. And if these guys bring in the right guy, yeah, and we start to play a lot better, I'd love to hear your take then. Because I was hearing a lot of the things about Gerrard last season. I was hearing a lot of things about Gerrard last season at Aston Villa when he had them in relegation fodder.
Guys,
now look what Emery's doing with them, man.
Let me jump in for a minute here because I want to get to some super chats in a minute. But that leads us into the news that has come out today from Graham Bailey. The Athletic has also spoken about this as well today, that there's some players in the Chelsea squad who have told the owners that they would prefer to see Poch replaced at the end of the season. Chelsea's hierarchy are reportedly considering his position. The Athletic have said that privately they are talking about potential candidates. CB, do you think sacking Poch is going to have a bigger impact of improving Chelsea as Don does?
No, I genuinely don't believe, unless the model changes and we get a manager that gets backed and can bring in his own players, because the way the model works under Clear Lake is that they make the signings based on data that they have put together. Based on the data, they bring in X player and the manager has to do whatever he can to make this work. We've seen, Don, you've just said to yourself that the squad isn't good enough. The squad that they assembled is not Chelsea quality, your words. No matter who comes in my opinion, I don't think that changes anything. Don, earlier in this week, and actually before I get into that, in terms of the players coming together and saying, oh yeah, hierarchy, they want things to change. Obviously, the fact that they're all under 8-9 year contracts, they have more leverage in the situation. The player power has to come into play. However, I wish this was done sooner if that was really the case, because these players, if they were as good as they say they are, and you are sitting in 11th place, 12th place all season, you were down tools. The manager will lose his dressing room. I don't believe the manager's truly lost his dressing room. The fact that he hasn't is a testament to the ability of what these players really are. And then Don, in the international break, you posted up videos of Noni Madueke playing against Luxembourg under 21s and said, "Oh yeah, if give him the right system, this guy will cook. You man not telling me this and that and that." So I'm like, okay.
I didn't say that. I said it's too good for under 21 level, and it's true. It's too good for that level for England.
I want to throw this to a rival for a minute. Like, Staffy, what do you make of this? I know that there are player issues and a manager issue, but you got two Chelsea fans here that sound to me like sort of polar ends of the spectrum. The media now talking about the manager being replaced. Do you think that's like first point of call for Clearlake and Todd Bowley is to sack Poch and then go out and buy more experienced players, or should Poch be given more time, in your opinion?
I think Poch has done enough to warrant him getting sacked. However, I do agree with CB on so many things, because he's basically saying a lot of the stuff that I used to argue Don with, well, in depth, because he's actually a Chelsea fan and he sees a little bit more than me. I have an issue with Chelsea fans who think Poch is the only issue or he's the big issue. I don't think he's the main issue. He is one of the issues. But I said this before. Poch gets sacked and the work starts from there. The work doesn't end from there, because you're going to get a new manager, yes, but you still have to replace a lot of players. The fact that we're sitting here 2 years later after all the money being spent, and we all can sit here and admit that they need to address the market again in the summer. They have to go and buy more players. That's the part that's shocking to me, because I don't think Poch has been good enough. I think Poch he's failed so far at implementing a strong system where it's getting the best out of most of the players. I'm not deluded like most Chelsea fans expect all of them to be good in the first year, but you should be getting a tune out of more players, especially the expensive ones. Because if you did Don was correct on that. He took on the project knowing what he has to do. He knew that they're signing Caicedo for X amount for him. They knew that they signed Enzo for X amount. These are the most expensive players. You need to get them playing better football. However, there is a majority of Chelsea fans, and I think this is why CB is frustrated, that they think that the issues end the minute Poch leaves. And that is the biggest issue. You have so much more issues the minute Poch leaves, because there's so many players that you have bought that their stock has dropped that need replacing. And you spent too much money, and you won't have the same budget going into the summer. We've seen it obviously in January. People thought you're going to go and drop 200 million again in January.
If you look at the manager market, I don't see anyone experienced enough, because the truth is, I've said this before, in terms of the ownership situation, no one's
ask him his thoughts on Zerbi, Tell.
The directors, nobody's won a trophy before amongst directors. Our managers never won in England before, and as I said earlier, only 2 players have over 150 league appearances.
But you shouldn't be looking at that, CB. I'm sorry. Sorry. Let me tell you something. You shouldn't be looking at a winning manager now. You should be looking at a floor-raising manager right now. And no. I know you're going to do that because you're Chelsea. Hear me out, because I hold my club to a high standard as well. There's a difference between me holding the standard and knowing where I'm at. Okay? I know that I'm in a point right now that I need to take it step by step. Okay? We both in different ways have fallen so far away from having that winning manager. Should we be going to that? Yes, but I can't skip about 10 steps to get to that. I need to take the first step. The first step is you should have hired a manager that comes in and makes these players look good. There's always, and this is why I don't like this argument, there's an Ange Postecoglou out there that no one knows of that could come in and make you play good football. Because if you asked Kate a year ago, do you want Ange? She would have been like, what kind of makeup is that? She would have thought you're talking about something else. What is that? What's that brand? Is that a clothing brand? Is that a designer brand? She wouldn't know what Ange is. But this guy came into the league and he actually implemented a system. Now, is he eventually going to win something? That's a discussion for a year later or whatever it is. Right now, we are both of our clubs are very relatable because we need floor raisers when it comes to managers. You have a manager that needs to come in. The reason you got Poch, and to be honest, I hold my hand up and I said that was a good appointment in the summer and it's not looking good, is because he had experience working with a young team. So we saw, you know what, between all the candidates, he's the one that could come in and get a tune out of these kids. I don't know, I'm gonna take an assumption about how many players you sign. I'm gonna say, let's say 20. I know it's more. But let's say you sign 20 players. This manager is at least going to be able to identify about 15 of them that are going to be good for our future, and 5 of them they're going to be duds. We'll loan them out, sell them, and that's just how it is. You never want, and not everyone you buy in the market hits. Someone is going to be a failure. The issue with Poch is that there's more duds right now than good players, and he plays a part of this. Are some of these players not good enough? I do think so. I think some of the Chelsea fans overrate this team. When we were sitting here in the summer talking about them being in top 4 races or whatever, there's no proof of that. Most of these guys, you said it perfectly, you only have 2 players that played over 150 games in the Premier League. I said that last summer. You're signing too many players that have no experience in the Premier League. How can I sit there and look at Enzo as an example and be like, you know what? Enzo's a top 4 player. There's no proof. I know he's a good player, but there's no proof. He played 6 months in Europe, and I already put him in a team filled with youngsters after he played with an experienced team in the World Cup being carried by Messi. And I said, you know what? That's good enough to lead me into top 4. No, that's not true.
It's just speculations. Hold on, go on.
Quickly before you go, right? I think where Chelsea kind of got wrong, they didn't address their primary position in a striker, because this is where I agree with CB, right? There's been so many games where Chelsea have drawn or just about lost, where if they just had and I'm not even going to say clinical striker, but a striker that's just a bit better than Jackson, that's an extra 8, 9, 10 points, and they'll be high up the league. I think there's fine margins when it comes to Chelsea, and I think where they got it wrong was the primary position in a number 9. Because I do rate Jackson, but I said to you earlier, Don, I feel like he might be kind of your. I'm not comparing him, by the way, for the comments get onto me, but like your Firmino, your Gabriel Jesus. He's good at tying things. He's the linchpin, but he's not actually the guy that will put in the back of the net. Because there's many games this season where if Chelsea just had a number 9, we wouldn't necessarily be speaking like this. We would still touch on these things, but it wouldn't have been as deep.
You see, the thing is,
Hold on, Dayo, yeah. Just to go back a little bit, Staffy, because Staffy, you made a very good point that you spoke about there, yeah. One thing that I've got a problem with the Chelsea fan base right now is we get your frustration, but you keep running away from the situation that we're in. You can't skip 5, 6 stages to go and just get this winning manager that's going to win things with this squad right now. And that's why I've spoken about Zerbi, right? I've spoken about Zerbi multiple times. People say he's a hipster and this, that. But for me, I believe this guy will know how to work with the players that we've got because he likes to play technical football. He doesn't like ping pong football. He doesn't want his guys just pressing and running for the sake of it like Gallagher. He ain't going to build his team around Gallagher.
Oh, you know? Your owners go back to
Brighton? This guy, hold on, Miguel, yeah? I think they would.
Logic would tell you, would they go back to Brighton and pay a release clause once again?
I think they would go back for Zerbi because we're linked to him. You know what I'm saying? And for me, when I watched Liverpool against Brighton the other day with lesser quality than us, yeah, the way these guys just beating the press easily, right? That's a manager that's got clear instructions. I'm seeing patterns on the pitch, right? He's lost Caicedo, he's lost McAllister, key players in that team, and he's still got these men playing the same way. Every time we played Brighton this season, they've given us a good game, bro. We beat them in the league. We just about beat them. Enzo scored 2 goals that day as well. You know, Cole Palmer's first game for us where he started was in the Carabao Cup. We played Brighton, very good game, you know, and that's a manager that knows what he's doing. Like I said, for now, we need to build the foundation before we can even think about moving into the house. How can you move into the house? How can you move into the house? How can you move into the house when you've only got the floor plan? You need to build the house first.
Don, so what you're saying is, hold on. So you're saying, I just heard you say Brighton has lesser quality than you.
Yeah, they do.
Your players stink, man. Let's just call it spade.
What were you going to say?
Hold on. Let me finish. Because let me just say what I need to say. There are Brighton players that have more experience in the Premiership than your players. Played more games in the Premiership than your players. Not the new ones that came in, the ones that remain.
Where's Caicedo?
Hold on. Let me finish. As I said, there are more Brighton players in the Brighton team and the experience that they have as players in the Premiership than in Chelsea. So don't do that.
Definitely a more experienced side.
I disagree.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. When I say, look,
guys, let's let him finish his point because I don't think we've got there yet.
Outside McAllister and Caicedo and the guys who left, right? Every other person who stayed behind in that Brighton team has played more games than the new players that Chelsea team has brought in. So they at least have played for a longer period. So to say, I'm not saying your players don't have talent. Don't get it wrong. If your talent is not showing yet, it's still a seed. When you get there and your talent begins to blossom, that's a different story. You might have a great striker in Jackson in the next 2 seasons or next season. But right now, you can't compare that to what they have.
That's not true.
Every time we play Brighton this season,
that's all I'm saying. I'm just saying.
Let me just say something back though. I disagree with you. I think Brighton are a better team because the manager he's able to make these players play the way that they do. I want to give praise to the manager. But what we're not going to do here is you're being a little bit disingenuous. We're not going to pretend that this Brighton team actually has all this experience and like these players have been here together because they haven't been. When I'm looking at the team, they're like, but 1 second, because you said they have more. First of all, you said they're better than the Chelsea players, which I disagree. They're playing better, but they're not better because the Chelsea players should be playing better.
I said again.
They don't have more experience.
No.
You said they have more.
I said again. Let me start again so you hear me, Staffy. I addressed what Don said. He said we played the Brighton team that has lesser quality than us, right?
They do have
And I
lesser
said-
quality than us.
Hold
in my
on, and then I
opinion.
said, and then I said, the players that you have right now are not even quality enough for you. You said that. You've owned up to that.
But
And
that's not true.
hold
Dayo.
on, Staffy. Hold on. He has said that today on this panel. He said the players they have are not Chelsea standard. They're subpar.
Yeah, some of them are, Dayo.
Yeah, no,
I
hold
agree
on.
with
No,
you.
so he's used those words. And then I went forward and I said, okay, when it comes to how many games players have played in the Premiership, Brighton have more players on their team that have played more Premiership games because you guys have more newer players who have played less.
No, but Dayo,
And
that's what I'm
so-
saying. You're wrong
and so-
because Dayo, they're starting 11. They have Van Hecke, who's new. What's his name? Koma Baleba, who's new. Dingra, who's new. Ansu Fati just came from Barcelona. Evan Ferguson, I believe it's his second season. These are all players that don't have no experience in the Premier League like that.
Okay, one
Like,
second.
it's not like we're talking about like the difference. The way you were talking about it, like some of these guys have been here about 5 years.
That's not what I
We're
just
not-
said. I just said
No,
they
no, but
played
you
more
said they have.
games.
No,
Yeah,
it
but
doesn't.
all
No,
experience enough.
Staffy,
One-
even if
no,
it's 5
changes,
games, Staffy, even if it's 5
changes
games more.
things.
Guys,
No,
one-
we're not gonna do that. 5
No,
games
no.
doesn't mean anything.
Listen,
If I played 5 more games than you, doesn't mean I have more experience than you. If we're
Stop.
gonna use experience, Dayo, we're gonna have to talk about a few years of experience. Like if
Exactly.
you're comparing to Arsenal players, they've been there for years.
No,
That's an
no.
experienced team.
Dayo's 1 second. Dayo's right. I'm gonna just step in here. I'm
No,
looking
he's
at the
not right,
statistics.
Igal.
Let me-
This
let
is-
me- let me-
Guys,
let
let
me-
Igal
let me-
speak.
let
Let
me-
Igal
right.
speak. Let Igal
Let me
speak,
explain
please.
to you why he's right. Their best players, for example, this season, you got guys like Pascal Gross. You look at their center back pairing. You got guys like Lewis Dunk, Webster, who've been there for a minute. I'm not saying they're a better overall team, but I'm saying Chelsea's team has a lot of inexperience in areas where you need experience. Their defense, they chop and change, bring in young defenders every other day. You look at their best players are wide players. Their midfield, which they're supposed to rely on, they're new players and they haven't really gelled yet. Conor Gallagher, they consistently talk about needing a striker. Chelsea's spine is out of whack. You go to Brighton's spine, they actually have experienced players who've been there in the Premier League and have been year in, year out.
Yeah, but I just
performing.
named you the players that
What's
are new to
fine?
the Premier
No,
League and they're
but
still playing
one of
maybe
the
playing
best,
better.
Staffy,
One of
what
the
you're
best.
doing is, Staffy, what you're doing is you're handpicking and selecting players, but you're missing
I
the
just
point.
named you players in their starting 11. I didn't handpick
I don't
anyone,
think
bro.
I don't
could do
think
the
you
same
can
thing for
I don't
Chelsea.
think I don't think you can go through the Chelsea team this year and name me at least 5 players who have a large experience in the Premier League because this
Igal,
year,
but they're not. But
this
they're
year-
not just better than
this
them because of
year-
experience. That's what I'm trying to say. Because Chilwell
No,
looks
but
like
this
shit
is-
and he
this
has
is- this is
experience.
important.
Sterling
This
looks
is
like shit and
important.
he has experience.
No, but
Caicedo
this is-
looks like shit
one
and he has
second.
experience.
But this is important because when you have guys who've been here before who know how to the season takes and what they need to do week in, week out, and you're not throwing in a young players every single week, and you don't have.
Igal,
a
but
team
this
that's
Brighton
jointed,
team lose their
you
best
can
players
then-
every year and they look better. How do
No, bro,
you lose
one
your
second,
best players
one
every
second.
year?
The reason why we're talking about Brighton in the first place because Chelsea have to lower their standards. The reality situation is Chelsea this season, their team, the way that it's constructed, and you can even criticize the manager.
That's fine. I agree
they're
with
not
that.
playing. They're not playing at a level to be compared to the top teams. That's why they're being compared.
I agree
to
with
Brighton in
that.
the
I
first
agree
place.
with that.
Okay,
Now
Igal.
let's-
Just to
now
move,
let's-
just to
now
move.
let's bring it back. Let's bring it back.
Let's
Let's
finish.
actually
Then I wanna
dissect
move
it.
to
Let's
Superchats.
actually dissect it. Are you guys telling me that Chelsea's defense this season has been anywhere near one of those top teams? No. Are you telling me their midfield? Yes, they have quality players, but have they been that good as a team, connecting the dots and making everything work? No. And then we continuously talk about their attack. It's not that Chelsea are missing a striker; they're missing a whole entire spine, and we're just always always talking about Poch this, Poch that. Yes, Pochettino makes mistakes, but we've told you from the beginning of the season you have a young squad and you're going to have inconsistencies. These are part of the game. And I think you guys have to lower your expectations and understand where you guys are in the project rather than expecting to get top 4, get European football. It's going to take baby steps. And I don't think you guys have the patience to even last another manager. It's going to be the same situation.
Yeah, guys, I want to move on. We could probably keep talking about this for hours. Interest of time, I want to move on to the.
Before we leave.
Yeah, very quickly, just so I can go to the super chats. Go
As
on.
for Zerbi, a large part of my fan base, people that watch me, if I let this conversation run and didn't address this, they'll crash me. It's as for Zerbi, he's not Chelsea quality. So Zerbi's gone and lost 4-1 at home to Luton. If that happened at Chelsea, there'll be a crisis. He's 3 wins in his last 18 league matches. You look at his record in the Premier League. He's got 16 losses, 10 draws, and 25 wins. So he's got more losses and draws than wins. He's conceded 96 46 goals in 66 games. As Chelsea, our standard and our DNA has been defense as a priority. That's been our identity. We've been a defensive team. It isn't about popping the ball and looking pretty. It's about sitting back, kicking it long to the big man, 2-3 touches, and we score on the other end and sit back for the rest of the game.
You want to add that instead, yeah?
It's never been about having a style of play and looking pretty. Let us go back to our defensive identity. He doesn't have that. He's not a winner. If you look at his record and his form, Gary O'Neill has a better league form than him currently today. He should not be Chelsea manager. The fact he's linked to our club is us sinking and our standards lowering day by day. Wake up and smell the coffee. Thank you. I'm done. You can move on. Sorry.
Guys, some super chats here before we move on to another subject. We won't delve into all of them in great detail, but this one here says, Don, are you ready to admit your players are bad? The best proof, both club and country, where players are better than the coach. Are United and England. Chelsea have a player issue, and overrating them is one of the issues.
Are you ready to admit your players are bad? But the thing is, the players have never been Chelsea level. But I don't think they're as bad as this. They shouldn't be in 11th. They've never been in Chelsea. That's never been my point. These men are not Drogba and Lampard and Ashley Coles and whatnot. You know what I'm saying? But guys like to run away from the situation that we're in. We've got a manager that hates them, a spy.
You're protecting the players, and in one hand trying to cover your ass.
I will protect the players because, like I said, I've already said these men are not Chelsea level. But end of the day, what does that do, you guys? I keep on complaining about the players that we've got.
No, bro.
Two things can be right at the same
That's
time.
That's contradicting yourself. You're saying they're not Chelsea level. You're saying they're not Chelsea level, but then when anybody criticizes them, you go to the hill and back them. So to me,
no. I'll back Enzo. I'll back Enzo when I see him getting played as a.
Bro, you back
wing.
Hold on, Miguel. You backed your defense at the beginning of the season. When I came on after the West Ham game, you said, Igal, you don't know what you're talking about. Our defense is good. We did it last season. We can do it again. And now you're saying
I never said that.
Bro, we can pull up the tape for God's sake.
Pull up the tape because no, hold on, Terry. Let me just say one point, yeah, before you go on. Pull up the tape because what I spoke about, I remember that West Ham game, yeah. It was literally clown music. Thiago Silva, mistake central. Disasi, mistake central. Yeah, there's certain man I like in this team that I will defend, but don't go on as if I keep saying everyone's sick and everyone's good. No. Don't do that, Igal. Don't do that.
No, but whenever we push back on numerous top six shows, you get defensive with your players, and I get it. You're a Chelsea fan.
Hey Enzo, because you hate Enzo.
But don't sit here now. And saying you're calling out everything, because the reality is you're the first person on every single top six show to go to the hill and back your players and criticize Poch. That's what it is.
Bro, add context to the players.
I get that, guys. We can't argue every single super chat as we'll be here until this time next year. We can have bits, but we can't. You both said your point. The viewers will decide who wins. Pretty sure that Chelsea hasn't beaten Arsenal since 21-22, and the last Stamford Bridge win was in 2018-19. So why the chest on for when you play Arsenal?
What chest? I don't know if people are watching. I've got a twin brother somewhere that's been saying a madness.
No, I don't know. I think it's from when I said, you don't fear the Emirates. I think they're piggybacking off that point.
I don't fear the Emirates. I fear my team and I fear my manager. I fear them more than the Emirates. That's all it is.
Fair.
Last week you said Chelsea would stop Arsenal winning the league. Remember the video is there. You on CB? Just saying. But last week
I wasn't even here last week.
You called in, and CB. I mean, you want.
I didn't even speak about Arsenal. So now you're stuttering because you don't know what's going on. You know what I'm saying? I didn't even speak about Arsenal.
I hear you now.
This Jimmy says, for me, call them awful, but Brighton have bang average players. Chelsea should know. And yet they get coached way beyond their individual capacity.
That's what I was trying to say. Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I agree with. And just to point out, I checked your stats, CB. I had to check it. In the last 18 games in the Premier League for Brighton, they've won 7 of them and drawn 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. I don't know where 3 wins in 18 has come from, but they've got 1, 2, 3, 4.
The Europa League as well. The Europa League.
All games maybe, but yeah, in the Premier League, at last 18 games, they have 7 wins, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6 draws, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 losses. Which I'm not saying it's the most amazing record in the world, but I see a lot of people kind of say what 3 wins in the Premier in 18. It's not strictly true, but I agree with what Jimmy has said here. But I also get where you're coming from, CB. I think Chelsea should, every time Chelsea have tried to play more flamboyant football, it hasn't. Well, you should go back to your Jose Conte. That's when Chelsea have been at their best, the Jose Conte era. That's when you've been at your best. You need players to adjust to managers' tactics, not reject them. Otherwise, the manager will just play to the player's strength, which is not sustainable. I hear you. Breaking news: Man United's new director of football, Jason Wilcox, is from Southampton. His technical director is not going to be the director of football, but yes, thank you very much.
We're saving
indeed,
that for Dan Ashworth, yeah.
Rick. Hopefully, Jim is fooling us. Not your Jim, that is Kate. The same Deadwood with 5 different managers is set. It's still at the club. I understand that. I've got to stop the super chat there. It's hard to continue going. Getting this polarization at Man United, getting rid of Ten Hag doesn't mean all these players are going to survive. But you can't get rid of 20 odd players in one summer and buy 20 odd players in one summer. You have to slow. We might get rid of 5 or 6, bring in 5 or 6. Any more than that, and there is too much upheaval at one time. So I get what you're saying, but to have a go at Sir Jim now, when none of the decisions, they haven't even employed yet the people to make the decisions. So nothing that's going wrong now is on Ineos or Sir Jim. Start judging that once they start making actual decisions at the football club, my friend. And
Wait,
the worst,
real quick before you
go
move on. Sorry,
yeah.
I'm not gonna do over too much. That super chat where you're saying, and now I'm hearing McTominay's not for sale. That's the same manager. By the way, that manager is playing him every game over his own signings, where Matt was on the bench and Amrabat was on the bench every game because he scored him 9 goals this season. You can't say he needs the players or the Deadwood is there, blah, 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 when they're actually saving him this season. Because there's a stat that came out that how we do XG and XG against you, like expected goals and expected conceded goals. We're actually over exceeding the expected points we should have gotten based on our performances. The stats are saying that we should have been on 36 points right now. We would be sitting below Chelsea if we didn't get lucky on some of these games.
You don't even need the stats to tell you that stuff.
No. So Rams, this just proves that these Deadwood players, which I agree they're Deadwood, they're actually exceeding the fact that we're sitting in 6th. They're actually be kissing their feet right now because they're saving him.
If Ten Hag would have actually implemented the style of football that he did at Ajax and actually coached that from day one with these group of players, I'm not saying we'd be winning the league, but we'd be a top 4 contender, no doubt, with these players. We still need better players in this squad, but we know this team can make top 4. They've done it multiple times. We just don't have a system, and that's needed in the modern day game. The big piece here, big up yourself, says Condon. Mudryk is better than Martinelli. Also, Condon, I don't overrate these players.
Again, like I said before, Mudryk has more to his game than Martinelli, and I stick to it.
Yeah. To be real, I don't listen to CB on playback. This man said Hendo is better than Gerrard, but I think he was being facetious.
Wait. Was you joking? Was you joking?
He was talking about, so the topic was Vardy and Kane. I said Kane would swap careers with Vardy based on what he's won in terms of his legacy. Then they mentioned Gerrard. I said, if we want to talk about legacies as a Liverpool captain, Henderson is more decorated as a captain for Liverpool than Gerrard. Uncomfortable truths. Do you know what I'm saying?
Fair. I thought you meant play. I thought you meant ability.
If
you're saying who won more, the proof.
Yeah, Gerrard would swap like his medals for Henderson's medals every day of the week.
There's a glaring one, 100%. There's one glaring one, obviously. So yeah.
Don, you don't need any manager to beat 10 men Burnley. Don't blame Poch for every. In fairness, I'll say this for Don, he didn't. He blamed the players earlier on in the show, my friend.
Saying people just choose to listen to what they'll listen to, man.
Just become a member, Terry. A 9 doesn't make Chelsea better. A new football director and scouting team. The Poch is doing the best he can.
I think that was in relation to what I said. I didn't say a 9 would make Chelsea better, but they'll be slightly higher in the league. They wouldn't be a better team, but points difference. If they just had a clinical 9, they'll be slightly higher, at least 6 or 7 more points.
Brighton have had tons of injuries this season. Welbeck, Lallana, Milner, Dunk, Lamptey, Veltman, Gross, Solly March. Is this not experience?
So you just said they haven't played. What experience if they're not playing? Actually backed my point more.
Staffy, but that's what I was saying. I said as a club, Brighton has players who have played longer in the Premiership, more games.
And Cecil as well.
And these people, because they are also there, like for example, you're playing the Lallana or a Solly match with a younger player, right? There's someone to guide them. If you look at the Chelsea team, you just have 2 people literally that have that level of experience, and that's why I'm saying that. In comparing them, it's totally. That's all I was talking about.
Brighton are better than Chelsea, man.
Yeah, well, if they finish above them 2 years running in the league, it's
I
definitive.
just don't want Dayo them dismissed.
they're
That the
bigger-
coach
they're-
is
they're
bigger,
bigger.
that's all I'm doing.
Yeah.
Oh no, I'm not dismissing the coach at all. I can't. Zerbi, I think Zerbi is
yeah.
a good coach. I think he is.
Yeah, but both Chelsea and Man United will have to do similar to Arsenal, rip up contracts over a few seasons, develop talent, and be pragmatic with results. Injuries and experience meant as 2 separate points. Yeah, I hear what you're saying there, bro. Thank you for your super chat. Please hit the like button. Make sure you're subscribing. Rory's backstage will be coming in with us very, very soon. I want to shout out our title sponsors today again, though. Match Bingo. There's lots of Premier League games this week. Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. Lots of epic ties, big games in the title race, top 4 race as well. You want to be playing Match Bingo throughout the course of this. It is an amazing game, whether you've got an individual match card or you're playing bingos as well. They're great games. Get your cards now. There's many given away free each game week as well. And then during the matches, just sit back and see if your chosen moments, I suppose you would call them, from throw-ins to goals, etc., come in where you can win money for a line, 2 lines, or getting a full house, just like normal bingo. Get it downloaded now. It's free. It's available in the UK. You must be over the age of 18 to do it. It's an amazing game. I play it all the time. But little full disclosure, I don't buy them. I don't buy cards for Man United games. I'm too stressful. I can't sit there and chill and watch it. So I do it for rivals and when my team's not involved. And it makes the games a little bit more enjoyable. So go and check out Match Bingo at the end of this stream, people. Absolutely top-notch application and content. And the great thing is, whenever you spend any money with them, a big percentage goes to the Stroke Association, helping victims of strokes and the families surrounding them as well. So as much as it's a bit of fun and you can win some money, it is all for a very, very good cause as well. Yesterday was a weird day. Arsenal go away from home and get a point. They've now beaten City and Liverpool at home and drawn with them away. And I have seen the world change. Genuinely the world change. I heard one of the most decorated presenters and pundits on TalkSport today come out with a claim that no team that goes to win titles draws away from home against their title rivals. I've heard claims that no team ever has won titles by being slightly pragmatic away from home against rivals. I've heard that this is proof Arsenal can't win the league because they're not brave and they didn't open up and leave themselves vulnerable to Manchester City attacks. And I don't know whether it's me because I'm on loan at Arsenal. I don't know whether it's me because I'm an Arsenal lover and I always defend them. But I had to today. And I had to because it's bullshit. But I really had to because the greatest manager of all time and the hero and legend of my club, Sir Alex, quite literally stated, you beat them at home and at least draw with them away. He did what Arsenal did yesterday umpteen times in my life. And to suddenly see football people state that what Arsenal did was a disgrace to the game, it's not a good advert for the game, and that no title-winning team has ever done it. I don't care if you hate Arsenal. You can't go around lying about football. You can't lie about football as far as I'm concerned. And I wanted to go to a gal first. We'll come to the rhetoric after the game. But what did you personally make, or a bit later, what did you personally make of Arsenal's defensive masterclass and performance yesterday?
Terry, what did people expect? We're not Liverpool. We were not going to go there and we were not going to say, let's just go play a basketball game. No, you guys seen the game in the Community Shield. You've seen the game at the Emirates. They were both cagey games. They were both tactical games where either team were just trying to get the edge to see what was going to happen. And you want to know something? We played Man City this season twice in the league, and they haven't scored a goal against us. So when people keep talking about, oh, Arsenal were playing defensive, Arsenal were playing anti-football, Arsenal were doing this, we weren't here to entertain you. That's not the goal. I remember Chelsea fans, I remember other fan bases getting at Arsenal for only playing entertaining football and not winning anything, not even striving to try to go and succeed. Now that we're doing that, it's all of a sudden, this is not what we came to see. I think people are more upset at what they were watching than actually watching the game and saying, you know what, fair play. Arsenal went away to the Etihad, neutralized Kevin De Bruyne, neutralize Erling Haaland, neutralize world-class Phil Foden, but yet everyone wants to talk about Bukayo Saka's poor game. Yes, he did have a poor game. But
Gal, what was your prediction? What was your prediction for this
my
game?
prediction before the game was actually 2-2.
Dayo, what was your prediction? Dayo, what was your prediction?
My prediction was 3-1.
Guys, we'll come back to that in a bit. Let's just marinate right now.
Yeah.
Marinate right now.
Yeah. So I just want people to realize that Arsenal Football Club, our best strength, our biggest strength is not our attack. Our biggest strength is not even our midfield. Our biggest strength is our defense. So when we lean on our strength, why are you surprised? When a team utilizes their strength to help them in the game, that is tactics. That is the definition of what Mikel Arteta did. He said to Manchester City, you've been scoring all these goals, you've been winning all these games, and you know what we had to do? We went there, first half, everyone's like, oh, it's all Man City. When you actually look at it, they only had 4 touches in our box. Come the end of the game, they didn't even have that many touches in and around our box, not too many shots. And I feel like the best chances actually fell to Arsenal. If we were a little bit more clinical, maybe we could have capitalized on the game. So to me, Terry, I think Mikel Arteta's tactics were spot on. And this gives me now more hope going forward for the rest of the season and also in the Champions League, because I've seen us up against the best teams and we've given them a big problem. And I think a lot of people who are criticizing us, they need to open their eyes and just realize that we're for real. And I don't even want your credit until we go and deliver the trophy, because that's what we have to go do now.
I hear you on that, Don. I know we'll come back to what people have said prior. But on Arsenal's performance, thank you, bro. Thank you. I appreciate it, my man. And Rory's jumping in with us now as well. Welcome back, Rory. Don, what did you make of Arsenal's performance? Because it has received from a lot of rivals, of course, City fans and pundits, heavy criticism. But do you think that Arsenal got their approach spot on and have walked away with a good, positive result in this title race?
Listen, for me personally, I was surprised that they played like that because, like I said, when we played Man City away, I said Arsenal have got every chance of going to the Etihad and beating them. So I thought they would stick to their game plan, go out there and play how they usually play. And the defense will still be able to save them because off the ball, Arsenal are good. They keep a good shape. They've got Declan Rice now. They've got Saliba. They've got Gabriel. I've spoken about Arsenal's defense all season. As much as I didn't like how they were attacking start of the season, I said defensively, they definitely improved. So I was a little bit disappointed that they didn't go for it. But end of the day, they'll take the point. For me, it's hard to judge if that point's going to be enough until the end of the season. Let's see how they get on now between now and the end of the season, if that's going to be enough. But for me, I honestly thought this was the best time now for Arsenal to go there and take it to City, because like I said, City aren't invincible at the back. You guys got through there, Terry. Look how you're struggling this season. We gave them a good game. They haven't beaten us this season. Do you know what I'm saying? So I honestly thought that they'll go there and attack them. But I'm not gonna say Arsenal are they're not a serious team for going out there and playing the way they did, because end of the day, they had a game plan. If they were better in the final third, it could have been better. They could have potentially won the game. I think Odegaard in the final third was poor. His final ball was poor. Tross had an opportunity as well to square it to Martinelli. He didn't do it. You had Jesus getting in good areas as well. If that's De Bruyne, he scores. Jesus, we know he's not clinical. So again, the ball went off the pitch, right? So how I look at it, I just think that Arsenal could have mixed up a little bit more, because we spoke about this earlier on Saeed's channel. Yeah, I think they could have mixed up a little bit more, and I just didn't expect them to be that negative, that defensive, if that makes sense. I thought they would actually take it to City.
Do you know what it is with this result, right? This is one of the results where we're not going to know the significance of it until the season ends. But these are the positives for me for Arsenal, right? Arsenal done something Liverpool's never done in title race against City, and keep a clean sheet at the Etihad. The way I saw this game was the immovable force in Arsenal's defence again, the unstoppable force against the immovable object. Arsenal's defence and City, especially at the Etihad, to stop City from scoring for the first time. I think it was since November 2021. Is crazy. And if you go to the Etihad and play football, you're gonna get popped. You're actually gonna get popped. And I feel like rival fans actually need to calm down on this Arsenal outrage, because we're criticizing Arteta. We criticized Arteta last season for not doing what he did on Sunday, but actually being pragmatic, for actually adapting, for actually having a game plan. I actually have to respect the result to a certain extent, because I wanted a draw. I thought it would be a draw, and we got a draw. But the fact everyone's like, yes, Arsenal have been scintillating this season. Yes, they've been aesthetically pleasing, but you can't necessarily go to the Etihad and play that football. I understand what you're saying, Don, as in Man City have looked frail at times, home and away. But I just feel that would have suited Man City if Arsenal went there and played. The fact they kept a clean sheet, and yes, it means they dropped to second, but there's still 9 games to go. I think Arteta needs credit, and he adapted because we were cornering him last season for this. We were cornering him last season.
Drawing away from home. Sorry, drawing away from home at the Etihad.
Clean sheet as well, Terry.
Yeah, he's not gonna. Yeah, you could if you miss out on winning the league by a point. Go after they won that game. I think it's more not beating Fulham, and those are the where you should be winning that you would focus on. I read a stat today, and I haven't done the research to clarify it, but I read a stat that during title race seasons, Klopp has never got 4 points off of Pep, as an example, and Pep hasn't got. Maybe I read somewhere that Pep hasn't done the same thing. So Klopp has never done what Arteta has done at this moment in time. Yet I have never seen Liverpool or City. I tweeted about this earlier. It's fascinating how Pep and Klopp tend to struggle away from home against each other in title races, and yet never have been scrutinized for it. But Arsenal draw away from home at the Etihad. First team in 3 years to stop them scoring, 57 games at home. And yet suddenly that makes them mere pretenders and not a serious club. That's why I can't take... I get where you're coming from, Don, and what you expected. But why are
I never said they're not serious.
Okay, Terry, it's simple.
I said they're not serious.
It's simple.
Don, let me finish my point. Let me just finish my point. I said other people have said that. Even with you saying that, I expected them to go there and open up an attack. I don't understand that. Arsenal did exactly what I thought they would do. The mistakes they made is that I don't think the manager started with enough pace in the team to capitalize on counter-attack opportunities. There wasn't enough speed. He made his substitutions too late. So there were some elements that Arteta still got wrong. But how many teams, if I ask you guys this question, if you could name me 5 teams, I'll genuinely give somebody £200 cash. Can you name me 5 teams who have gone to the Etihad during Pep's era, played open, expansive, attacking football, not counter-attack, but attacking football, and got positive results?
We went there this season and drew 3-3.
Okay.
We literally did that in the first half. We made the Etihad our home.
Again, I don't think you played open, expansive football. You still were solid. The way people were talking about Arsenal attacking is going there, opening up, and being gun-ho and attacking and leaving themselves exposed.
Terry, to answer your question,
I don't see anybody doing that against them. I don't think anyone does.
Terry, 1 minute, Don. To answer your question, Terry, you asked why is there so much scrutiny on Arteta? And unfortunately, it's as simple as this. It's because he's not won anything. The reason why Klopp and Pep don't get scrutinized as much is because they've actually got something to show for it. Listen, if Arsenal win the league, you're going to see the scrutiny less for Arteta next season, because it'll be like, he's been there, he's done that. So to answer your question, I don't necessarily think it's fair. I think Arteta should be, in my opinion, praised for what he did yesterday. But the reason why he's still going to get so much scrutiny is because he's not done what the other two have. That's just the half truth.
I think you're being a little bit too what's the word? Like, I'm not saying Arsenal should just go there and forget defending. I'm not saying that, because everyone knows Arsenal defensively have improved, right? And like I said, off the ball, Arsenal keep a good shape. But what I expected, like I said, is for them to attack a little bit better. Cool. It might have been individual performances that weren't great. Like I said, Saka weren't great. Jesus wasn't great. Havertz was just okay.
Martinelli should have come on before Trossard as well. That's what I would say.
Like I said,
but they're managing his injury as well. We're not. I mean, as a club, we're not just going to throw our players. We're not just going to throw our players in the deep end against the Man City team that can rip us apart as well at Etihad. Now, let me start by saying I predicted a 3-1 victory because I believe in my team. Yeah, because I believe in my team and I believe they have the capacity to go there and do it. And we had City had 1 goal, 1 shot on target against us at the Etihad. 1 shot on target against us. Think about it. You had all the possession, but you had one.
At the Emirates too, Dayo. At the Emirates too, they only had 1.
Same thing. Arteta deployed dark arts, and everybody is pissing themselves. When this team did it to us, Porto, these are the stats. We had more ball possessions. We had when Porto did this to us and deployed the dark arts, and they scored 1 goal at the end of it. Everybody, the same exact thing. When other teams do it, it's okay. But when Arsenal deploys it, all of a sudden, it's now, you're playing negative football. No. Listen, let me finish.
Finish and I'll go after. I'm going
to go to Kate next. I'm going to Kate next.
We did what we needed to do. Listen, we did what we needed to do. Arteta did what he needed to do to get what he felt he could get out of there. I know the players have better capacity than that from what I've seen. from what they've played against other teams. I believe that that team is strong enough to go in there and get 3 points. Bottom line is, I mean, at the Emirates, I remember Man City fans saying the reason that we beat them is because they didn't have Rodri, because they didn't have De Bruyne. Well, now you had Rodri and you had De Bruyne this time around at the Etihad, and you still could not beat us. It ended being a draw. So what are we talking about here? We did what we needed to do to get it done. Simple. So if you don't like that, well, go hug your transformer.
Kate, over to you.
No, all I say, I mean, I think the narrative around this whole Arsenal thing is horrendous. For me, Arsenal did exactly what they should have done. If they'd have gone out all gung-ho and Arteta had gone and played open, expansive football and they'd have got bad, it would have been the same, oh, well, Arsenal bottled it, Arteta's naive. And I would have been the first person to come out and say it, I'm not going to lie. Whereas the fact that they've gone out and played cagey, at the end of the day, you know, people say, oh, well, like I've had Tottenham fans in my chat today say, yeah, but we went to the Etihad, we played our way and we got a draw. Yeah, but we wasn't going for a title. At this stage of the season, you cannot afford to drop points. And a draw is obviously far better than a loss. And it keeps them in the race. So for me, I don't understand where this criticism of Arteta's come from. I think he did exactly as he should. I think a draw is a fantastic result at the Etihad. And yeah, I just think the narrative surrounding it's all wrong.
We can't have it both ways. Because we can't have it both ways. We've been bigging up Arsenal defensively. When I'm saying that, okay, I trust Arsenal's defense to be good enough to allow Arsenal's attackers to do even better up there, it's, oh, no. They just had to sit back. I'm literally bigging Arsenal's defense up and saying, they didn't just. But
Don, I think what you're missing is a really important fundamental here. In terms of the approach play from Man City, they were really good. City, I don't think Arsenal we're going to sit back. Arsenal were forced into sitting back for large parts of that game because Man City are really, really good. And they couldn't, and there were times where Arsenal were trying to play out and City were giving them the ball. The goalie was under pressure and was making mistakes. That's because City also did. When people said it was a boring game, I wouldn't want every match to look like that. I never find those games boring, though. I actually find them, it's almost such high quality that it becomes a bit of a stalemate. And I'll give you an example. The period of the Premier League that I thought was the best was from about 2004 to about 2010. And so many times when Man United and Chelsea played each other in that period, they were horrible, boring games because both teams just kind of cancelled each other out. And that is what we saw yesterday. City dominated the ball, but then they couldn't break down that solid Arsenal defence that you mentioned. But if Saka and Gabriel had not come back and helped out and the fullbacks were then isolated, they would have got played through and they may have conceded. What they got wrong yesterday is there wasn't the speed on the pitch to break on that counter. And yeah, it would have been nice for Arsenal to have been able to dominate the ball there, but it just didn't happen on the day. And I think that this idea that Arteta just said, right, guys, I don't want us to try and have the ball. I want us just to sit back and absorb pressure and try and counter. I don't think it was as basic as that. I think there was an element of it that was forced in the game due to how good City were in possession, because City still are the best team in the world. I don't think we should be forgetting that.
I think
I think rival fans are basically just mad at the fact that we didn't get crushed. That's it. That's why they wanted to.
No, we're not.
No, Staffy. I'm not talking about you directly.
I'm happy with the result.
Listen. I'm not talking to you.
Me too.
I'm not talking about you directly. I'm not talking to you directly because I've been in spaces where people are like, yeah, you didn't play your way, because if you played your way, you'd have been beat. That's what they wanted. February 2023, Arteta went to there, played expansive football, 65% possession. We lost 3-1 to Man City.
I know, and I said that on the last show. I agree with that.
We had more possession. So he's come back, he's learned from his mistake, he's done what he thinks he needs to do. I thought he would release the players to play the way I thought they could play, and how I believe that. I thought that, but I'm a fan. I can think what I want. The manager knows what he's doing when he gets there. So I can think whatever I want, I can wish whatever I want, I can hope whatever I want, right? That is me basing it off what I watch and what I think the players are capable of doing. But the manager knows what the player is capable of doing the morning of the game. If he stopped his toe coming down the stairs, if he brushed his elbow, if somebody got hurt in the bathtub, the manager knows all of that and knows why he decides to play a certain defense style. Last minute, it's on the manager. But what I do know is at the end of the day, Arteta did one thing. He learned from last season. He did not lose this season at the Etihad, which is a step up for him. We have not won at the Etihad since 2015. Arsenal has not won a game at the Etihad since 2015. So to draw this game under Arteta's watch, for me, that's a step up for Mikel Arteta. Because not
I
only
agree it's a good result, Dayo.
He
Listen,
adapted.
let me
At the end
just
of the
get my take on this because I haven't said anything yet. I actually think it's a good result for Arsenal. Obviously, it was always to win. I wanted them to win. Now that they didn't win, obviously, I would rather them draw. I think a 0-0, that is still a positive result. I have no issue with admitting that because if you remember in the build up to this game, I kept saying it's probably going to be either 1-0 or 2-1, just because I expected it to be very, very, very close, which it was. But here's the issue, Dayo. We are not here to
Wait,
talk
to
to
who?
Arteta
Staffy,
and
1-0 or 2-1 to which
Arsenal.
team?
I thought
To
Arsenal would win.
Arsenal?
Yeah, I thought
fair.
Arsenal would win. Here's the thing. We don't argue with Arteta. We don't argue with the managers. We are here as fans, and we sit here on panels and we go at each other's takes before and after games. When we are sitting here and we're listening to how you guys don't fear City, and then you guys retract after you get a 0-0, that's what we have an issue with. Because all along, I was level-headed enough to say, you know what? It's going to be a very close game. You, Dayo, yourself, you said, I think it's going to be 3-1 because I don't fear City. But your own
finish my
manager
statement.
feared City.
Finish my statement again. Don't you see? This is what I don't. Staffy, you
Did
like
you
to
not
pick-
say that you don't
I
fear
said,
City,
finish
Dayo?
my statement. I said I don't.
You
fear-
finish it for me.
I said
What is it?
I respect City, but I don't fear them anymore. Just go clip the video. Those are my exact
Okay, but
words. I
it's
respect.
still in
Listen,
it.
hold
You
on, hold on, hold on.
Mhm, that's what you said.
Arsenal, Arteta respected Pep and City. There was no fear in our game. Because if there was fear in our game, they would have destroyed us.
Dayo, you
with the
had
attack.
four
Wait,
center
Dayo,
backs and
is
a
it their
double
fine
pivot.
line
No,
though?
no,
Is
no,
it
no,
their
One
fine?
second.
There were eight center
One
backs
second,
on that pitch.
Dayo. Let me finish.
There
Just
were
let me
eight center
finish.
backs on that pitch as well. City plays center backs too. So what are you saying? We
But
have
that's
four
what I'm
center
trying to
backs.
say.
They play the
So,
same exact thing. So what are we
bro,
talking about?
you're
The City
missing
fair
the
us then?
point.
The City fair us then by playing four center backs too? Like, what are you saying? Like, if you're
Yes,
going to
if
make
you
your
let me
point, make your
finish, I
point,
will
so.
say that. I will say that. Yes, because there was 8 center backs on the pitch and you're playing a double pivot. But somehow you don't fear City, but your manager does. Your manager did
But
the
City
right
played the
thing,
same
and
thing to
I
us.
praised him for it.
Four center
Yes,
backs with two people.
yeah,
Let him land,
But
land.
Pep has been doing that since last season. This is why he got rid of the likes of Cancelo and them, because he's been too scared to get pumped by teams. And he saw that being defensively solid is winning him trophies. Your manager's doing the same thing. So you can't say before the game, I don't fear City. We're going to pump them 3-1. But then after you get a draw, you're like, oh, why don't they respect that we got a draw? It's
I don't know.
because
I'm
you
That's
came
not what
in
I
with
said.
the
That's not
bigot.
what I said.
Yes,
That's
you
not what I
did.
said.
That is what you said. That is what you said.
Guys,
I did
let me,
not say.
hang on.
No.
Let me just step in for a second here. I want to clarify something. You said that Pep's scared of getting pumped. That's why he's playing more defenders. I don't think there's anything wrong with a manager being fearful of losing games. I want my manager. I want every manager in the world to be fearful of losing and setting up a team that is built not to lose. That's what should be what they're all doing. I don't think it's fear. It's respect that if we don't have this defensive stability, these teams are going to beat us. You could call it fear, but I don't see what the issue is.
Okay,
I think
can I add one thing, Terry?
I think what Dayo's saying is he isn't going to the Emirates like he was like he felt 2 years, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, thinking we are getting smashed today. There's a very difference between a fan thinking we're not going to get smashed to a manager not respecting the potency of Man City. Surely.
I don't have
Can
an
I just
issue with
make
that
a
because
point?
I thought of that there. 1 second, CB, and I'll let you go. My issue is going back to the fans again. These are the same ones that if what's his name, Simeone was in this game, if Mourinho was in this game, they would have called it terrorist football, and that's what they've been doing for years. The one thing these two fan bases have been doing for years, Terry, is they brag and they gloat so much. How about they have possession-based football? They score goals. We play champagne football. That's one thing Arsenal fans been doing for years. That's one thing City fans have been doing for years. So when you go ahead and do that, don't retract now, because when our teams were doing that, you were calling it terrorist football, boring football. Jose Mourinho this, Simeone that, but now you're going back on your word. Don't say I
No,
don't
that's
fear
embarrassment,
teams,
that's why.
this and that. And what don't you get, Terry?
What I don't get is why that's important. Yeah, that fans are always going to be fickle and hypocritical in these things. But Arsenal have been playing with 4 centre backs and a double pivot all
Since
season.
January.
And I don't
No,
have
I
an
don't
issue with
understand.
that. I don't have an
you make
issue
it,
with
you make
that.
it make it sound like all of a sudden Arteta coward. Okay, Pep played the same thing against us, a double pivot and 4 centre backs. So is Pep afraid of Arteta as well? Is that what you're saying? So
Of
I said
course,
it again.
both of
I know,
them were
listen,
scared of each
listen,
other and they
listen, I
canceled
said
each
it-
other
I-
out. That's
listen,
what
I
they
said
did.
it. What I said before the stream, and I wasn't saying that. Oh, now that Arsenal played a good defensive game, you have to respect it. No, I said now that Arteta has found a way to nullify Pep at the Etihad, good on him. He figured a way out. He's better for it. I said I still believe that the players have the capacity to go in there and win 3-1. The Arsenal team that I know that is current form today have the capacity to go in there and win 3-1. I still believe that.
You played them
Now-
3 times and you didn't put 3 past them, bro. What are you talking about?
Yeah, that was
you
what I was telling you
Like, I just
before.
don't know what are you talking about. I believe
Look,
it didn't
that-
happen in
listen,
3 games.
Again,
But that's me. That's the fan.
Sorry, Dio's
That's me, that's
prediction's
me, the
wrong.
fan.
Like,
So-
I don't think we need to dwell over Dio's prediction as
No,
opposed to the
they want
game
to
and the
hang me on
impact
my
of it.
prediction. So continue. The prediction is the prediction. It didn't come through, but we did.
Not
know
just
what it
you,
is?
Dayo. Not
The
just you.
prediction,
Because
Dayo, what is the prediction shows an element of disrespect because 3-1
No.
screams a
Bare
comfortable.
chest
Listen,
for what,
3-1, 3-1 is a comfortable result. That's a 2-goal cushion. That's actually a comfortable result. If it was like a 1-0 or 2-1, we'll kind of understand it. But I feel like because you said what you said before the
Roms,
game,
you know
it's
why I
like,
said
yeah,
that?
1 minute you can't.
Roms, you know why I
That's what
said
it is. That's what it
3-1.
is
You know
for
why I
me.
said
That's what it is for me. That's
you know
what
why
it
I
is for me.
said 3-1? Because let me tell you this: we're talking about City here, right? You know that if you go there and put 1 past them, you're not getting away from them. You score 1, City is coming back to score. Like, you know this for a fact, and you're going to the Etihad. I don't care how good our defense was. If we broke City and scored 1 goal, City would have won that game 2-1 because we would have tried to defend even deeper, and they will pump us. At that point, they're more vibed. So
But you hold on.
Hold on.
But
So
you
I already
predicted-
listen. Let me. So my thing was aim for the moon. I back my team. They have the capacity, and I think they have the talent and the manpower enough, knowing that we had more players coming back and less people injured than City. This was our best time to go in there, aim for the moon, and try to pump them. And I made a statement before I made it. I said, I respect City, I respect Arteta, I respect the Etihad, but I'm not afraid of the place anymore. I'm not scared to go in there and do what needs to be done. Simple.
I want to ask this question then, because again, I'm just trying to understand. So the reason why why the media, pundits, fans online, social media are like mocking and playing down what Arsenal has done is because some of their fans predicted 3-1 results.
No.
And
No, don't do that, Terry. You start the
I'm
segment.
not finished talking. Let me just finish my point. That, and because some Arsenal fans say that we never play pragmatic football and you do. Is that the reason for us suddenly?
No.
Like, because
Hey,
I view
fans
it,
are
I view
always
it,
gonna be
I
soft.
view it as,
Everyone,
I view
what
it
I'm
as
trying to say here is what's lost on everyone in terms of the criticizing the game is the truth is football is these are the 2 top teams of the country. No disrespect to Liverpool, Roms, but these are the top 2 teams of the country. And
We're talking, though. We're talking.
No,
Yeah, he
just,
said
I
no
know,
disrespect to the
understand,
other
but you know,
person.
this is what people be saying. This is what they be saying.
Fair.
This is a potential Champions League semi-final clash. Yeah, these guys have gone into this game with literally 8 centre backs in the pitch combined. The football was horrible.
With
Everyone's
double
running around
pivots too,
saying-
bro. With double
Everyone's running
pivots.
around saying on the timeline, "Oh, it's a tactical battle. Oh, the chess
It
match
is.
between Arteta and at the end of the day, it's not entertaining." This
hang
is
on,
why-
CB.
Our
CB,
job is not to
CB.
entertain you,
So
CB.
again, that's the
No.
third point then. So because rivals weren't, and you sat there a minute ago,
as a
CB.
neutral, as a
No,
neutral.
I get that. So I understand saying it's not entertaining. I understand that a lot of people won't find that entertaining, but that is not a reason for a
I'm not
professional
criticizing
pundit.
Arsenal for this.
And I get that. And I get if somebody says I wasn't entertained by the game, I don't think anyone has a problem with it.
Yeah,
But
for
I'm
me,
saying
I'm not criticizing Arsenal. The only
please
critique I have for
let me
Arsenal-
finish. Please, I'm
sorry,
not saying you
sorry.
are. I
Sorry.
agree with your point, but not being entertained is not a good enough reason for a professional pundit to come out and say, I've never seen a team win a title that tries to get a draw away from home at a title charge. I'm not sure why we're deflecting away from the performance and what it means for the league title and solely focus on Dayo, who had Dayo's confidence in winning. That feels like a deflection away from the actual talking point that Arsenal shut down Man City, the first team to do in 3 or 4 years, and how we think that's going to impact the title race. Suddenly we all care about, well, this Arsenal fan tweeted this and this person tweeted that. And suddenly, I mean, CB, a minute ago, you spoke about Chelsea have to return back to their defensive fortitude. What Arsenal did yesterday is literally how Chelsea become a massive club.
Exactly.
So Chelsea fans should have no issue with this. They
Terry,
should be
I have
celebrating it.
Terry, I have no critiques in terms of Arsenal, in terms of what they played. My only criticism on Arsenal is after the game, a lot of the fan base felt happy with a draw. That said a lot to me about the mentality, because I remember a month ago us going into the Etihad and drawing 1-1, and we was asking for a manager to be sacked after the game. That just shows the difference in terms of standards and mentality that I've highlighted.
It doesn't.
CB, at this stage of the league,
CB, if you were in a title race and you guys are playing brilliantly, and that was one game where you got a draw, you wouldn't be calling for your manager to be sacked.
CB, can I just say, Terry? Can I just say quickly, CB? I think
on.
Terry's spot on. You've not been in a title race with City to understand how valuable a point is away at the Etihad in this running. You haven't. So I understand what you're saying, like overall mentality, whatnot. not being happy with a draw. But in this context, in your last 10 games away at Etihad, I've been there. I know how valuable a point is. That's the only thing I don't think you'll be able to relate in recent years going into
Roms,
the entire race.
And in total, CB,
Hold on,
and in total, Arsenal fans are more happy that we took 4 points out of the available 6 points against City, because that's a big thing for you as well as a team, especially when you're in the running for the title. If Liverpool is able to take 6 points off City and 6 points off Arsenal, that's huge for them in the title race. Like, if you're all going toe to toe, and any team that you're going toe to toe with, you can take more points off them, that's huge. So you're not just happy about the points. It's not like, oh, that draw is the celebratory draw. No, it's like, you know what? We did the business with City this season.
I agree. I want to go to Rory.
I want to hear Rory's take.
I'm going to go to Rory. Sorry, I'm going to go to Rory, and then we're going to go to the super chats. There's a lot of them. Rory, talk to us, mate.
I'm just baffled. This whole day it's like been one ongoing April Fool's Day, and a lot of fools involved. It's like, what are we doing? Arsenal have taken 8 points against our 2 title rivals. We beat them both at home. We drew both away, and yet we've just spent 20 minutes arguing about how much we should be criticizing. You know, whether we should criticize them a little bit or a lot. And no mention of City, who have failed to score home and away against Arsenal, who haven't beaten either of their title rivals. Everyone talks about, oh, wait till City get into gear. Well, they had the opportunity away at Liverpool, drew. No one complained about them getting outplayed and drawing at Liverpool. Then they were at home against us, and we'd kept hearing, oh, wait till we play them at the Etihad. And they've drawn. And yet there's seemingly just no criticism for City or the way that they played. I don't know. It's just absolutely baffling. As a fan, it was a boring game. I know it was tactical, and I didn't even think there was that much kind of tactical excitement around it. It was a boring game, but we did what we needed to do, and I don't think we went there to get a draw. People say, "Oh, you played for a draw." We played not to lose, because we could have won the game. There were a couple of chances. If Trossard had squared it to Martinelli, if Jesus had made the right movement off the back of Akanji, we created the chances to score. And it could have been exactly the same as it was at the Emirates, where we walk away with a 1-0 win. But we went there not to lose, and that was what we had to do. But again, no one's talking about the fact that the onus was on City to win. They're the team that's in third. They're the team that had the opportunity in a 6-pointer to go at least ahead of us, and they failed to do that. So, it's just incredible. Absolutely incredible.
Yeah, man.
They failed to do that because you guys were great. Sorry, Don. I was just going to say, they failed to do that because you guys were great. I just want to go back and just re-summarize what I said. I actually praise Arteta for what he did. I think Arteta approached the game correctly. Arteta has been very good since that Liverpool game. I've been nothing but praise for Arteta, because so far he's doing very well since that Dubai trip. I don't know what happened. Going into this game to the Etihad and defending well and limiting. By the way, you didn't just park the bus; you successfully parked the bus. Okay, because you limited him to 1 shot on target. I've seen my team go there like cowards, park the bus and concede 3. There's a difference. That's why I'm praising him. My whole criticism was towards how easy that game seemed to be to some fans when it wasn't, because the manager clearly viewed it better. He respected the game much higher, that he resorted to going, listen, let's not lose today, because the bigger picture is we want to win the league. And I respect Pep too much. I respect the City institution too much to think that I could go there and play him off the park. And fair to him. And it might reflect at the end of the season for a trophy. So 100%, I'm going to give him praise. And I think that's what Rom said and what Don said. And I think Kate said that as well. But back to what we said, we were just talking about the fans disrespecting the game too much.
Yeah, but the thing is, Staffy, I don't think that's disrespectful for Dayo to say that it could be 3-1, because I knew Arsenal. Well, I said Arsenal would get at least a point. And if Arsenal had turned up and been clinical, it could have been 3-1. I don't think City looked brilliant yesterday, not at all. I thought Arsenal looked a better team for most parts. But we play pretty football, and we've been criticised all year. Oh, but Ange plays pretty football. It don't mean anything if you don't win. All of you rivals, I'm sorry, I sound like a real Arsenal sympathiser, but it really irritates me, because you just all sound mega salty. Don sounds so salty.
I praised
sounds really salty. I wasn't really talking about you. You're in there. TV sounded salty. At the end of the day, to go to the Etihad and get a point in a title race where it's so close, I don't see how anybody can criticise Arteta. And I agree with what Rory said. I don't think they went there to get a point. I just think they were just pushed back into that position. You can see they didn't go there to just win a point. I just think if they had a better finisher than Jesus, who I thought was pretty poor, they probably would have won it.
Okay, I never said it was a bad result. That hasn't come out once.
No, but you are salty, Don.
I'm not being salty. I'm not being salty. I literally said Arsenal can go. Arsenal can literally go and beat Man City is what I said. I've said that for weeks now. I've said that for weeks since we played them. I said Arsenal can go beat them. Why would I say that if I'm salty about it?
You are
Right?
salty.
Dayo was being pressed because he was, you know, even in the chat they was saying, listen,
Dayo
take
is
time,
being pressed
Dayo.
about what?
Dayo, you're being pressed by Staffy. You kept losing the ball.
What am I being
Bro,
pressed about?
he said clip
Let
this.
me.
He told us to clip it.
I know what Staffy's trying to do here. I know what Staffy's trying to
I've
do
got
here.
something to
But
clip
I
later.
want to talk about Man City anyway because that was just looking
listen, I simply said again, and I will quote it. Go and clip all the videos. I said I respect Man City, I respect Pep, I respect the Etihad, but I'm not afraid to go there and get my 3 points. These are my words, Staffy. So when you want to talk about what I said, quote me in context. Don't pick out one part of it to sell your narrative agenda about what I'm saying.
There's
Same
no
thing
agenda,
with
brother.
Don.
You said
Yes,
clip
no,
this and let's revisit it. I'm just revisiting it.
And clip
But
exactly
the Idri bit, what the one thing Dayo didn't say though, in defense of him, he didn't turn around and say we're going to batter him off the park. He just thought they would get opportunity to score and they would be clinical and take them. And that's the element that was wrong for Arsenal. And I think so that part of his prediction, I feel like we have kind of criticized that. Arteta didn't put enough pace on the pitch. He didn't bring Martinelli on soon enough in the game as an example. And I think if they start that game with more pace, they break out and counter-attack more. Man United, when we played them a few weeks ago, all of our opportunities early on in that game came from Rashford's pace, and I know you hate me saying this, but a little bit of pace from Garnacho on the right as well. I know he's not the fastest in the world, Staffy, I'm sorry, but they got there, and I just felt that Saka looks a bit lame to me at the minute. I think there's something wrong physically with him, personally, just the way he looks. And Jesus is quick, but he hasn't got that electric speed on that left-hand side, and I think those were the mistakes he made. King Canton and I have a great comment. He says, it wasn't the best game for viewing-wise, but I think it's a solid result for Arsenal. Sometimes you have to adjust your game and get the best result for that one game. I hate Terry's disloyalty, not Arsenal. I'm not disloyal. I need to respond to this because I think King Canton has a troll, but I'll do it anyway. I'm not being disloyal to Man United. My support or defending of Arsenal in this space is protective of Arsenal. This is what I don't like about modern day football punditry. If we all allow it to become fact, that it's like a bottle job mentality to go away from home in title races and get draws and play pragmatically as an example. If that makes you a lesser team, Man United fans pushing that narrative, you are undoing Sir Alex Ferguson's legacy, you numpties, because he did that on a regular basis. What I will always do when it comes to talking football is I will look at what's being said and think, I honestly do. I go, how does this impact my legends and my team if this now becomes the written rule of football? And things change very easily. If the consensus starts to say and believe something, everybody sort of follows suit. Look what picked up pace in the international break about the nonsense about Thierry Henry, and we all disagree with that. All it takes, though, is the mainstream media to start pushing it, and then for it to become the narrative, and everyone's view of somebody changes. That's why I do it. I can't sit here and allow lies to be spewed. And it is bullshit that it's not like a team in a title race to get a pragmatic away draw in a title race against a title rival. It's the weirdest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Like I said at the start of my segment, we were criticizing Arteta last season for not doing what he did on Sunday. It's as simple as that. So I feel he just needs credit for it. Whether it results in the league or not remains to be seen.
I'm going to go through some super chats here. This first one says, I will rewatch the game and I can tell you that if Arteta tried to be brave, go for the goal and not counter, Pep's tactical change during the match would have been destroyed. We forget City can press, but Arsenal fans will tell you they don't want someone. I don't know what that means.
Arsenal fans
Not sure.
I don't know what that means either.
I'm not.
Oh, Simeone. He meant Simeone.
Simeone. Oh, right. Yeah. I'm not missing church again to watch Arsenal versus City. 28 possession in the first half from Arsenal sucks. Dayo should be exposed. He predicted 2-3-1 to City.
Don't worry.
He
Man.
didn't.
How many?
That barrister set it for Arteta and that.
How many City fans predicted that they were going to beat Arsenal though?
Rory, what was your prediction? Because I actually don't know.
I said it was going to be a tough game.
My prediction was 1-1, and I made a prediction of 1-1 at the start of my watch along. And on TikTok, it was getting flooded with "You're not getting a draw, you're getting smashed, you're getting slapped," and all of that stuff. And then we do get a draw, and suddenly it completely.
See, so I don't have an issue with that, Rory. I had Lee was on my channel, and Lee predicted a 1-1. The amount of abuse that he got for not backing his team. How can you not back this team? We're gonna smash them. This, and that. He explained exactly what happened in the game. He just said we're going to a team that has one of the best home away record. He explained the home record. I don't even remember the stats, but he got criticized for that. This is why I'm saying, if you're going to criticize the level-headed Arsenal fans, why can I not criticize the ones that said I don't fear going to that down? I don't care if Dayo said I respect them. You still said I don't fear them. Clearly, your manager feared them. So you had the whole.
I think, but I don't feel. Are you not hearing his point though? I know he's not here to defend himself, that, but you're not hearing his point. All he meant is that I don't fear getting battered, which is what happened. They didn't get battered. He said he respects them. He didn't say I don't fear them because we're superior and we are going to smash them to pieces in every part. He just thought, because he broke it down on the Top 6 show on Thursday, that we will catch them on the counter and I think we can score 2 or 3 goals and I think that'll be the score. He didn't disrespect them. I know the scoreline sounds heavy, but he didn't say anything bad about them. And saying he doesn't fear them, he clarified then and he clarified on today's show. He just means he doesn't feel that Arsenal are not, and they're not. Arsenal are not whipping boys anymore for the top teams. That's all he meant by it, Staffy. I get where you're coming from, but you're always going to get the pantomime in the comment section. Whatever you say, you do this enough on straight facts. Whatever you say, there's a group of people that think
they can hold that. I don't care. They can hold that. That's why I just like Dayo, not them. They can hold that.
City are on course for one of their worst final tallies since Conte won the league. Ask me, this team is very toothless without Gundogan and Mahrez. Walker, Stones, Edison, Ake was starting the game out. Grealish just back. But they still started. I still say this. They still started with Ruben Diaz, who they all said was better than Van Dijk. They started with 85 million Guardiola. They started with Ake. They started with a Kanji that's brilliant, and they brought on a brilliant player in Rico Lewis. Let's not pretend that they didn't have Phil Jones.
That was a strong City 11. When I saw the City 11 on paper, that was a strong City 11.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
Is the thing. There's an agenda for every occasion. If we'd gone out, played aggressive attacking football and lost, it would have been Arteta's naive, the team are fragile, they don't have the mentality, and they've bottled it again. If we'd gone out and played attacking football and beaten them, it would have been City have fallen off, they had a load of injuries, they didn't have any of their back four, Arsenal got lucky, they got lucky with injuries. Like there is no winning. The agendas are going to agenda, and
do you know one thing I'll say on City, and this might not go down properly with the comments or whatnot, but I've been thinking this for a while now. I feel for this run-in, and you lot might be like, oh my God, he's their best player now. I feel like KDB should come on as an impact player because it's evident when Foden's playing on the left or right, he doesn't impact the game as much. I feel, because you saw it in the Newcastle game, he came on, St. James Park, KDB changed that game. I think where he's had 2 injuries in the last couple months, he's slowly breaking down because that is the coming of age. That's natural. I just feel now, let Foden cook centrally because it's evidently he's having his best season because he's playing in preferred position, and then introduce KDB last 15, 20 minutes. I think Champions League games you can start him, but I think in this run-in, putting KDB in it, it's becoming a detriment to Phil Foden because he's having his best season when he's central, but you saw it the weekend again. Out wide, he's not as impactful. But I just thought that's a take.
And that's what I was going to talk about before Dayo started shouting. I was saying, like, with City, I think they had a strong lineup and whatnot. But for me, Terry, they weren't creating enough clear-cut chances. I know aerially, Gabriel and Gabriel and Saliba were good in the air. But when you just watch them, they weren't fluid enough for me. Do you know what I mean? And a big part of that is playing guys out of position. Foden left wing, Bernardo Silva and Foden as wingers. KDB, he hasn't really got the legs anymore. And like I said the other day, Foden's been their best player in my opinion, but then he's being shoved into a position where he's not, comfortable. There's only so much criticism I can give to a Foden when it's being played out of position. It's the same. I've got the same energy for my players as well. Do you know what I'm saying?
I hear that, and obviously Robert alludes to here. I mean, like Haaland was nullified, and I think what it showed, Haaland doesn't like being roughed up. There's one thing about if you can rough him up, and then of course you've got to stop those balls from coming into him. They found it really hard yesterday. And I do think, again, the irony is, and when you say that, is I also understand why some Arsenal fans weren't scared of going to the Emirates. I agree with Staffy. Anyone disrespecting City is foolish. But they aren't as potent and as dangerous last year. as someone that wanted Arsenal to win, my biggest criticism was they didn't start with enough pace on the football pitch. And I know they've had some injuries as well, but they needed more pace on that counter-attack, because even a very, not an average City, that's the wrong word, City off their game are still amazing and will hold that ball and be able to hurt you. This here says, let's focus on Arsenal's tactics rather than speaking about Haaland not being able to control the ball. I mean, I don't want to, because I've got to end pretty soon, but I wanted to, Roy Keane said he looks like a League One player. Is that a bit too harsh, Staffy, that he looks like a League One player?
Let's just be honest. We all want to say it, but we're just too embarrassed to say it because of how many goals we scored. The guy's just a bang average footballer. He's an elite athlete who could score goals. And he doesn't even score a variety of goals. His goals, the way he scored goals, are actually limited. He's not good with his head. He doesn't score from outside the box. He doesn't take set pieces. Let's just be very honest. He's a freak of nature who's playing as a striker, and he has so much support around him, which is why he scored all these goals last season. Really, if you're being honest, and I had this argument earlier on my channel with Griggs, and he made a very good point. He said, put Haaland in the early 2000s. How would he do there? Would he be the best striker?
You know, the problem is, Staffy, right? This generation, we're fixated on stats. So if you score, don't get it twisted. Last season, that was an alien year to score 50 plus goals. But I feel like even if he was to start scoring 20 plus, 30 plus, I don't think we'll put him on his pedestal. I think because last season was so alien. What he did at Dortmund as well in Salzburg, we have to include that. But I actually agree with you, because it's not popular to say, oh, he's a bad player because of the goals he gets. I feel like that papers over the cracks. But I think what Roy Keane said, it wasn't that bad, but people are just going to cry, oh, but he gets 50 goals a season. How can you say that? But like you said, Staffy, I said he don't really have variety. He doesn't really score headers like that. Like you said, outside of the box. I remember he scored one last season.
He's like 6'5" and doesn't score headers, bro. 6'5" and doesn't score headers, bro.
And they're the chances that they'll create for him.
It's very rare.
This is what I was saying to you, Roms, earlier. These are the chances they were creating for him. They just kept whipping it in, and every single time, Saliba, blah, Gabriel, doof. Do you know what I'm saying? Every single time, bro.
Gabriel absolutely sent them all game. And for how big you are as a player, no Diddy, but like, there's no way, bro, that you're getting dominated like that by Gabriel. Bro, he couldn't give him an answer. Gabriel literally just talked him all game. And then the game ended, and then he just smiled at him. He's like, okay. He little broed him. He's like, all right, good game. That's how he did it.
What I would say, though, about it is this, and maybe we're being a little bit too harsh in the sense of, I think he's got, like, his heading needs to improve. Let's not forget how young Haaland is, and there's still room for him to develop. And I'd liken it to Trent Alexander-Arnold. There's lots of flaws in Trent's game. I know he's had injuries this year, but defensively in the last 18 months, he's got better. But we were judging him and comparing him to Ashley Cole's and Maldini's at their pomp when he was 18, 19 years old. And certain elements of your game develop later on as a football player. The thing with Haaland is we don't judge him as a 21, 22-year-old because of how many goals he scores. We sort of view him as a fully formed, completely there football player. And I think I've seen him hold the ball up much better than that before in other games. Last season in the Champions League run, he was brilliant at times. But yesterday, he was absolutely...
we did the same thing for Rooney when he came to United. No one treated him like he was a 20, 21-year-old.
I agree.
He was at his prime. And the proof was that by 27, I'll tell you something, because the proof was that by 27, Rooney was washed. So actually, Rooney's prime was between 18 and like, I don't know, like 25, 26.
Read Rooney's book. Rooney was washed because that man drunk and ate too much and didn't look after himself.
I get that, but that's beyond the point, Terry. I get what you're saying.
I'm just saying.
No, I'll tell you why I'm saying this is beyond the point, because this could be Haaland's prime. We don't know how much he could improve. He might not improve. Yeah, that element's true. But Rooney peaking and being gone by 27, 28 was due to his off-field life. This guy would come back to preseason training and be about 2 stone overweight. And before he could even start getting fit for the season, he'd have to lose 2 stone every year. You see it with boxers. Whenever you abuse your body like that, and you look at Haaland, that guy's no ounce of... I don't think he'll have that same issue. But let's get through these super chats here. This is a Pep dropping Kovacic back as the arterial centre-back changed the way we had to press and actually forced us back more. We couldn't press KDB or Rodri. Thank you, Tevin, for the super chat, bro. They got the same playing... Sorry, they got Saka playing right wing back, and people are shocked that that was barely involved. We needed to be better in playing that final pass, and we would have won. And Jesus checking that run as well. City didn't attack either. Kept possession does not mean you attacked. Horseshoe football at home. 1 shot on target from a poor header is garbage.
And that's what I'm saying. A lack of fluidity in the game, man.
Absolutely. I think Arsenal feared them. That's still Arsenal not beat any top 12 team away from home. That's why this draw is on current form away from home. You're not beating anyone in the top 12 away from home.
Maybe not. I don't know. Off the top of my head, I don't know. Maybe not.
How many of them have you played away? That's a great question.
We still got Spurs away. We still got United away.
No,
we did. We smashed West Ham away.
There we go. There we go. Yeah, there we go. I didn't think that could be true. City went 5 at the back for the majority of the second half due to attack and our cap. We parked the bus and City did too when we were on the ball. So that's also true. Thank you. We've done that super chat. Arsenal baby project. Arsenal is in form and you park the train. Dayo, brother, you run your mouth too much, but your players aren't it.
I agree.
Thank you. Oh no, we scored 5+ in 3 back-to-back away games, and now we played one pragmatic game against City away. Shoot me. Rivals getting in their feelings about Arsenal fans' predictions because they have nothing else on us.
See, this is why I won't accept, Terry. When I made a prediction early in the season that we're going to smash Spurs, and then all my team missed sitters in the first half and we lost, no one talked about the context and they all cooked me. But now when I'm cooking someone else, which is something we always do on the terrace, all of a sudden you're not allowed to do that. Bro, just get with the program. That's what we do on the top 6. You talk shit, you hold smoke. That's how it is, bro. If you're sensitive, then don't watch the show. I don't know what to tell you.
Rewatched the game and Guardiola wasn't that good. Arsenal let him play into his weakness. Rewatching football games really does reveal a lot of misconceptions us fans make due to emotions at the time. It's very true. Rewatching football matches is different. Although some still make me nervous, which is weird. Whenever I watch Chelsea Man United Champions League final back, I still get nervous like we're going to lose. That makes sense. Where's the noise about City having not scored at all against Arsenal this season? Rory's take the stand, my guy. Obviously, we spoke about that. Great point. Imagine if every big game is played the way Arsenal did just to protect the point. There's a big difference defensively. But the thing is, Dan, it's a good challenge, but they wouldn't have to because they're not going to play against a team of City's level in every single game. My brother, who is an Arsenal fan, has mixed feelings about the City game because the result has basically made Liverpool absolute favourites for the Premier League.
I've got a quick say on that. I've got a quick say on that. I know we have to wrap up, but Terry and Staffy, I think if we beat you at Old Trafford, I didn't think we'll win the league. And I say that to say this. This was at the weekend. There was no Kanai. Kanai was available, but he didn't play. But you've got Alisson, Trent, Jones, and Jota. And if you can include Kanai as well, them 5 come straight back into the fold. KJ clipped this, but I believe if we beat United, we then go on to win the league. I'll say that with chest. But we must win that game. We must.
7 here said the difference came with how they deployed Kovacic. He was like another centre-back positioning wise. That affected how we could press. A few comments on that. Very, very true. You were going to say something a second ago, Rory.
I was going to say, like, people talk about, parking the bus and this, that, and the other. If Liverpool had come to the Emirates and parked the bus and got a point, they'd be 5 points ahead of us. So I don't understand why it's considered such a bad thing. Like,
yeah, you're absolutely spot on. Look, guys, we didn't really get into a title race conversation. We'll take that to Straight Facts tomorrow afternoon. Myself, Lewis, and Dan Potts. So obviously, we dictate the show based on what the viewers are saying, and it went the direction that it did. I want to thank my panelists. I want to thank everyone who's tuned in. All my super chatters, you're amazing. Please go and check out Match Bingo before you leave. Now, scan that QR code above my head. It's an amazing game during football matches where every free kick, every goal, every substitution can help win you some money. Go and check it out now. It's absolutely top notch. Gentlemen, and of course, Kate, the lady on the show, thank you all very, very much for coming on. Great banter as usual. Great call outs as ever. Until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless. And we'll see you all again very, very soon.